Hey, this is Chase Sexton. You're listening to the MotoXpod show.
What's up, you guys? Jeremy McGrath here. You are listening to MotoXpod show.
What's up? We're back with another episode of the Vital MX MotoXpod show, presented by Racetech and Yamaha Motor USA. Last week, the show was a bit of a mess. Had some issues.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Some time zone issues with the guests, a lack of prep on my part. I apologize for those things, and things went, things weren't as normal.
That's last week, but we're in this week.
We'll be better this week for episode 321. We have Pro Circuit Kawasaki's and Millville winner, Levi Kitchen, first overall of his 250 career outdoors. That's awesome. He's going to be on the show in a little bit. We've got O'Neill USA and Swap Moto Live's Alex Ray and TLD Red Bull Gas team trainer, Wil Hahn. Should be a banger of the show.
Banger.
We were looking to try to get Mark Banks back on, but there's some news that will be coming out soon, and we decided...
Still going to save it?
Yeah. He needed to postpone. Some things are happening, so we moved Garrett Marchbanks off. But anyway, in studio, Scotty Thompson. What's going on? How's YouTube? How's the chat?
Oh, it's good. So last night I don't know if you noticed or not, but most of our YouTube chat is the same cult following that other shows have.
Okay.
So last night one of those shows had David Villeman on.
Yep.
And everybody started saying,
you can mention the show.
I know. I know it's like a joke that we do. So. Everybody on Pulp was in the chat last night was saying putting a lay in front of everything, like lay Steve is on the show. Lay's
so I'm with you.
They started with us, so it's already we've been doing lay everything. Is everything lay good? How is everything lay going? Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Well, this is the Racetech Open discussion. Racetech is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company, and they have over 35 years of experience providing factory level suspension to the everyday rider. Racetech Gold Valves provide a plush feel with drastically improved bottoming resistance and increased traction. All Racetech products are 100% guaranteed and made right here in the good old USA. Guys, if you're looking to service your suspension, make some major changes, or if you're looking to do some engine work, racetech.com. You can find your local service center, reach out to those guys, your local service tech. He's probably at the track riding right next to you. Get to know him. Maybe get a little buddy discount. I don't know how that works, but Racetech, man, if you need some work done. But this is going to be the Racetech Open discussion. But yeah, you were just talking about, I haven't had a chance to listen to Pulp. So my phone's been blowing up a little bit about something Alex Ray, I guess, apparently said.
I wonder
Jeez
why.
almighty. So when he comes on tonight, we might...
I feel like it's going to be a large portion of the interview.
Yeah, I just found out about this. I was
really?
like, because I haven't listened. And I
would have texted you last night if I thought that weren't going to see it.
No, I had no idea. I just know my phone's been going crazy, and I finally texted Steve. I was like, dude, did something get said about me last night? He's like, yeah, A-Ray was on the Racetech rant and said something, and I went and listened to it. I was like, what the hell, man? So we'll get to all that. Let's talk about Millville a little bit. You want to talk about Levi, or you want to talk about Chase?
Kind of had the same thing, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, which one do you want to start with?
Levi.
All right, Levi Kitchen dominating 1-1. Dry conditions, muddy conditions, looked really good. I mean, not as muddy as it could be, but it was still very big, very different track conditions.
I don't know why. I wouldn't say necessarily triggered, but one thing that stood out to me was James kept calling it like, oh, well, it's a mudder, anything can happen. But like, was it? I guess it was was that really, would you really call that a mudder, or is that just a wet track?
I mean, it was muddier than it was in Moto 1.
I know, but is that a true mudder?
No, I guess not. Probably not a true mudder, but
I know that's not really what we're talking about, but
I mean, he's still like, look, it got some people, it bit some people, especially in that first few laps right after the rain delay, and that was annoying.
I did think it was kind of interesting that like that first that first corner, like when they do the lap, they come out of the finish line little section, and then they turn, they go up the start straight.
Yeah.
And then that right kind of hill right turn thing, that thing had some gnarly ruts in it. And for 40 guys to try to go through that, usually that thing's pretty flat and might have like one little fin in it for like the kind of separates it. But I've never seen it where it has lines like that going up it. And so, I mean, you know, I know that's not really talked about as the cause of the second turn, or the first turn pileup in the second moto of the 250 class, but I feel like that was probably the main benefactor of that, or the main causation of
Track
that.
Conditions?
Causation?
Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ruts going up that right first corner.
That area
not
always
normal.
gets nasty. Like maybe not right, but it gets choppy.
But there was like 4 defined ruts and 40 guys trying to go through them. Like I don't know. That was it seemed noticeable to me.
But I mean, look, Levi had a little bit of help in the first moto. I think Hunter or Diggs went down, and then he went down in Moto 2 also. So maybe a little bit of help, but I feel like that's the best we've seen Levi ride in a while. And I know we'll talk to him in a little bit. He's been making some changes on the bike, trying to get it comfortable. But do you feel like we can continue? Hopefully, we'll start seeing this for the next 4 races.
Yeah, I mean,
it felt like a different Levi Kitchen.
I'd like to see that, and I think it was too. But I mean, what the heck happened to everybody else?
Yeah, that's true. Like Masterpool was back a little bit.
Yeah. You know, I mean, everybody has something. Even Deegan everybody has something go wrong.
Yeah, Shimoda and Vial were having some good battles. Joe just kind of lost toe, which was interesting.
Well, I mean, the second moto, everybody except for
I guess I'm still talking about the first moto. But yeah. Okay. But what were you gonna say about the second moto?
Oh, it's just like pretty much the only person that didn't have issues was Cochran and Kitchen.
Dude, yeah, we'll talk about Cochran in a second.
Yeah.
But really impressed with Levi though. This is kind of what we had hoped we would have seen for weeks and weeks and weeks, right? I mean, he's now in second place in points.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he's still a ways down, but
mostly to the bad luck we were just talking about.
Yeah, but Millville was a big change in the season overall standing so far, and you know,
somehow Deegan gained a lead after all that.
Yeah,
so. I know we were like, so. Another topic is Levi, and I think that
it's general.
Okay,
it's a race tech open discussion. It's open.
I'd like to see that. It was a perfect race for this to happen because now he's going to his hometown track with momentum. So that's cool. I'd be interested to see how that goes. But obviously we're not throwing a panic button out because Deegan's 52 points in the lead. But was there any kind of sign of like, did it seem like he was off in the first moto? I mean, I wouldn't say he went backwards, but he didn't.
Well, he went down
in the first moto.
Yeah. He went down with like 21 minutes left. I got it in my notes right here. Yeah. He fell.
I guess I didn't notice.
So he fell, but he wasn't very far back. I think he was leading. He was leading and he went down.
That's right.
And then he was like, fourth or something like that, and had an issue with some lappers or whatever. So it took a little bit, but
I guess I'm trying to remember now. I think what I noticed was that he went down, and then I thought that he would catch right back up.
Yeah. I was gonna say he hasn't been quite as dominant.
Yeah, I think that's what I noticed.
He's just so much faster.
I figured he was going to light it up, and I know that's hard to do. It's a hard ask to just go after you went down. Heart rate goes up and everything.
He's done it a few times.
But he's done it a few times, so I kind of expected it. And maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I thought that.
I don't know that he's off. Maybe he's playing a little safer than normal.
I mean, he should. I mean, he's got over 2 motos a lead.
I'm looking forward to Washougal this weekend. And by the way, I'll give you a heads up when we do our EVS picks. We're doing 250s now because I feel like the 450s.
It's like, who's going to get third?
We're going to go 250s tonight anyway. Yeah. But yeah, Levi's great. We'll talk to him in just a little bit. So let's move to Chase.
Okay.
I've been writing a story that's going to go up this week just about like with Jet going out, how the confidence maybe you would think. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when Jet went out. Like the other guys, you feel like they have to get a little bit of a boost of confidence. And I kind of went back through history and found some old races where stuff like that had happened, like when Eli went down at Thunder Valley and when McGrath crashed leading outdoors and, you know, in 07 when Grant Langston won the championship because Stu and RC weren't there. But Chase, like I expected Chase and Hunter to still be pretty even and battling for this championship. But I feel now, after this weekend, that Chase has made a clear step up while Hunter has either stayed level with where he was or maybe even a step back.
Does the timing of this and the fact that Chase goes to the area that is considered his home area, I mean, Millville's kind of Red Bull was kind of a home race for him. Millville's not far.
Yeah.
And then he goes to. Washu was not really a home race for him, but he'll have Ironman too. Are we just seeing? Is the gap bigger because of the comfortability of the area that he's in? Do we see that go back down?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Chase has made a significant step up in like confidence. I'm the guy now.
Yeah,
and I do think that
it's interesting. It's interesting because it's pretty obvious that he does that. Everybody's going to ask the question: does that mean that Jet's too much in Chase's head?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? I mean he would never admit that, but
I would like to say no, but I think we're talking about something that's a subconscious thing, not something that's a part of their. Not something that they're like thinking about.
No, it's when somebody's dominant, or even when you're at your best, you're not really beating the guy regularly. It has to affect you.
Yeah, and I know people are saying like, well, he's saying that they're always going to say they're never going to say the truth and stuff, but I think that they are saying the truth. It's the subconscious thing.
Yeah, he doesn't believe that he knows Jet's going to beat him, but
subconsciously there's a mental effect to being beat that much. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
So people are like, I've noticed that this has been kind of a topic where everybody's talking about, oh, well, they never say the truth, blah, 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 blah. No, I mean, I genuinely think that he's telling you the truth.
Yeah, what he believes to be the truth.
It's a deeper level thing that's happening. So it happens to everybody. It happens to us,
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Now, Hunter did admit post-race that, he wasn't, I think actually in the Moto 1 podium interview or whatever, he said that he wasn't great in the rollers. Like he was struggling. Somewhere on TV, he said that he was struggling.
What Chase was doing was something that nobody else was doing. So
but then at the end, at post race, he did mention that during the week, like his program was off a little bit. They had gone to the 25 Honda 250 intro and threw his program off, and that certainly could affect a professional athlete like that when your program's a little off. Maybe he rode more than he normally would, or less, or whatever the situation. But that could have some effect.
Yeah, I think
he had to travel across the country.
He did a really good job of holding Chase off from what Chase passed him to the 22 minutes, something like that.
I think I have it somewhere.
It was in the last third of the race.
Yeah,
it was inside 20 minutes.
But Chase's lap times were didn't really drop much, while other guys
he was.
dropped
I think he was
seconds.
able to. I think that's what we're seeing is that Chase is able to ride a more comfortable pace. I don't think he's having to ride over his head to try to keep up with Jet.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, if you're riding a more comfortable pace, you're going to have more endurance. So when you get to that mark, it's just inevitable. Yeah, it's just gonna. It's gonna. Hunter was probably riding 99 to 100% to keep him behind him the whole time, and then when Chase goes, he can hit that wall. So it's the way it goes. I think it's just the reality of what we're in right now.
Let's do the Yamaha Motor USA highs and lows, and there might be a couple more topics from that we'll talk about. And Yamaha has a reputation for dominance. It doesn't happen overnight. It's built over decades. The YZ story is 50 years of iconic machines and groundbreaking innovations. Yamaha's new 50th anniversary edition YZs pay tribute to a half-century of championship-winning performance wrapped in stunning retro style. Check them out at YamahaMotorsport.com. Let me open these up. I'm going to do Vince Pale from TBolt USA's first. His highs finally got Pro Taper XR50 and KLX 110 bin bars in stock at TBolt USA. He said he picked up a Kawasaki KLX 140 to build up a pit bike, test product, do social media. Chase Sexton going 1-1 and finally letting the race come to him. Levi Kitchen going 1-1, getting things going. His lows, Joe looking like he had the win, 250 Moto 1, but only holding on for fourth, then unable to recover.
Yeah, that was weird.
250 Moto 2, first turn crash. Okay, I cut him off. So those are his. You got some highs and lows?
The highs were that I was out at the race this weekend and got to spend time with friends and family and got to do that and just be out at the races. That was one of my highs. We haven't camped out there and done that in a while, so that was fun. Did a little night racing, which was cool. Down the lows on personal end is that I've got some kind of sensor or fuel issue or something with my bike that I've been slowly knocking off what possibilities of what it could be. And still haven't figured it out, so the bike's not really running like it should, which makes it uncomfortable to ride. Blah blah blah. For as far as the race goes, highs were Chase going 1-1. I think we've been wanting to see this chase for a while, so that's cool to see. And just Millville's my favorite track to watch. So
Okay.
just that, yeah. Lows, I guess. There aren't really any lows on the race. It was good. Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I think we're good.
My highs were Millville as a whole, Kitchen 1-1. And then I'm going to say my low was Chance Hymas, the crash, and maybe in hurt. We don't know yet for sure. He thinks he's going to try to race at Washougal. But then my low, and I think this would be a topic we'll get into, was Casey Cochran also high. The low being Hayden's responses to the Hymas thing. He has one coming. Then after the race, he's like, well, I haven't really got to watch the replay exactly yet.
Be careful. We can't say anything. You can't say anything, Darkside.
Well, we're going to, because
you can't do it.
I told Hayden, like, I don't like it when he does stuff like that. I don't, like, first of all, why, like, okay, in some aspects I get it. Like, if you think you're going to get in their heads and if it works to make those guys frustrated or they make mistakes, and if it helps you in your performance, okay,
yeah,
but I don't like it. Like, you didn't even see what happened, and you're like, you don't know for sure what happened, and you're sitting there on the podium going, he's got one coming. He didn't do anything.
I mean, it was the same thing. It was the same thing as Supercross. I
know, and I told him I don't like it when he does that. And he, remember on our show, he's like, yeah, I probably should, like maybe, like calm down a little bit on some of that stuff. And
I do like the, like, oh, well, I knew he wasn't going to catch me. I've got him.
Yeah,
like
that's okay.
That's fine, because you're just playing head games. But to make an accusation of something that wasn't really the reality, I think is you got to. That's a fine line. You got to be careful with that.
Before we finish this topic, I want to mention, if you want to get into your highs and lows and get involved with the Yamaha Motor USA highs and lows or any of the other topics, MotoXpod@gmail.com. You can get in touch with us. We'll read the emails on the air. We'll talk about the topics when we can. Also, VitalMX.com. Sign up for our fantasy league. There is a MotoXpod Show league within the fantasy game. We'd love to have you. And I don't think I did this a few weeks ago, but maybe I mentioned it on the show. I can't remember. When I was in Lakewood for my regional, I got a message from a Garrett Smith, and he Venmo'd me $100 just to help out. Just wanted to.
Oh, cool.
And I meant to thank him a few shows ago, and I don't think I ever actually did.
My Venmo says 0.
Yeah, well, you weren't at Lakewood. So you should have went race Lakewood.
For the area?
No, the regional.
I'm going to get that backwards every time.
Yeah, you're going to get it wrong every time.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to thank them. But yeah, the Hayden thing, just like, he's super fast. It's very clear he's probably the best kid in the class right now. Mm-hmm. I just don't know that saying those words and creating enemies is necessary. Like, there's a line of, okay, I'm going to be a little confident. I'm going to kind of show it some, but sometimes you need to chill back.
I don't know.
But I don't know how you find that line at that age.
The one thing I do wish that I don't think we're going to quite see is it would have been interesting to see him be that way with Barsha, Anderson, Roxon, Tomac, like, because they're not going to play. They're not going to take that kind of stuff.
No.
So, but I don't think we're going to see that. I think most of those guys will be pretty much gone or kind of on their final hurrah when he does get to the 450 class.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's going to do at least another year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say a year or two, sure.
3 years, and then he'll go up. So he's on his second, so one more year. Most of those guys will be pretty much gone. But it'd be interesting. I'd like to...
I kind of hope that stuff stops by then.
Yeah.
I know some people like it. Some people love it. I'm just not a fan of it. I've never been a fan of the drama type stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you like ice cream, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to, like, say your favorite ice cream is 30 minutes away? Like, you don't want to drive 30 minutes to get the ice cream, but the ice cream is worth it. So, like, there's parts of it that you don't like, but the ultimate result is good. Like, it's good for viewership. It's good for creating content. It's good It's good for hype. It's good for, drama. So
I guess it gives all these podcasts something to talk about.
I mean, we're talking about it right now.
I just really like Hayden. I really do.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm not, that part I am not a fan of. Let's move on. We got about 10 minutes before we got to get Levi on. Did you listen to or hear? Okay, first of all, you heard Stu's comments and the breakdown of Chase's visual, like the way he looks at the track. Yeah. Did you hear his response to Lewis? Like they talked about it and he explained it. Did you hear any of that?
Yeah.
So I really like that Chase acknowledged it, especially like while it was still a current topic that day. Somehow he heard about it and then said, "Hey man, this is what I'm actually doing." Showed Lewis. I just thought that was pretty open. Like a lot of guys, I don't know if a lot of guys would have broke that down and explained it to the viewers, the Vital MX viewers or listeners.
I feel like Chase has always been like that though.
Okay. Maybe.
I feel like he always kind of like, I mean, we've had him on here and I've seen him on other interviews and stuff. And especially when he talks to Lewis on the post race interviews, I feel like he always breaks stuff down like that.
Well, I thought it was pretty exceptional just the way he did it with that day when Stu had just literally a couple hours ago.
Yeah, I saw one where during his explanation, I think it was a Vital thing. During his explanation, it showed a picture where his head's down with his eyes are looking up. Like it makes sense. I mean, everything he said makes sense. Like like I'm not gonna strenuate my neck just to look up. So that makes sense. I kind of do that too. I think. I mean, obviously, I'm not on the same level as Chase, but just barely, just a couple tick off.
How about the shout outs to the MotoXpod show during the race?
I guess I missed it. Was it in the middle? I usually watch them.
We talked about he watched the Cooper Webb segment that we did. Where
was it in the race day live or like?
No, it was on the broadcast, and then he did it on the Weed Show also. Yeah, he talked about it.
It wasn't during the race, right?
Yeah, I think it was
during the race.
It might have been in between. I don't remember, man. I just know he talked about it.
Yeah, because I watch him in post, and I usually don't. Like the 30 minutes in between, I don't usually watch. Maybe it was. And then there was that weather delay, so I skipped through all that. So
Millville always has some issues. I've been there a couple times with big rainstorms.
Yeah, I mean it's motocross.
But it was cool.
What did he say? What did he say though?
Oh, he was just talking about the Cooper Webb talking on our show about when he was going to be back.
Yeah,
and then he mentioned it again in post race. Or in his
did he say Dark Side?
Show. He said, Dark Side's Pony Pod, otherwise known as MotoXpod Show or something. On the main broadcast, he just said the MotoXpod Show. He didn't mention any of us. He just said the show name, where he heard it.
That was on NBC. Well, maybe that part wasn't. Second Motos weren't.
I think it was First Motos, but I don't remember.
I'll go back and look for it.
It was pretty cool. So thanks to Weeds for that.
Chase said it was during weather delay, I believe.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go.
Which makes sense because they were probably fishing.
Just finding things to talk about. Yeah. All right, we also got a message. We'll talk about this for a few minutes. Jason Henninger sent us an email, and he said, "Do you think anyone will ever take the number 8, and if so, who?" And I hadn't really thought about that, but the number 8 hasn't been used since 2010
with Langston.
Yeah. What is up with that?
I don't know.
Well, this isn't going to go anywhere.
Well, I mean, I wish I had an answer for you. I mean, aren't you supposed to be the inside guy?
Well, yeah, I guess maybe I am, but I don't have an answer either.
I always thought, not always, because this is pretty recently, but I know Hayden's probably going to stick with the 38 thing, but I kind of thought that he might do the 8, go from 238 to 38 to 8.
Yeah.
Like who would you like to see in that number?
Hayden, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to be the next one that's going to need one, like a lower digit number. So yeah.
I don't think he will though. I think that 38's too much.
It's just weird. I hadn't thought about it in a long time like that. That's a long time for that number to go unused.
Yeah. Who else would have used it in the past?
Chase recently changed his number, but he took 4. So there's been a couple guys that have changed the number, but the 8's just sitting there waiting for Grant to come back.
Yeah, he can do it.
What about Casey Cochran?
Yeah.
9.2 for 3rd overall. Podium. Dude was freaking out.
I mean, yeah.
That's awesome. Good for him.
He's been qualifying well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been doing better.
Maybe not starts or...
Yeah, do you think he might be the next guy to make the step up? Like we've been waiting on Ryder D and a few other guys.
I don't really want, to be this way, but I mean, everybody that's been finishing in that top from 2 to 7 had issues. So...
That's true. I mean, I know
9.2. I mean, I don't want to great race, great job.
I don't think
he led laps. Hopefully, he learns a lot from that, and I think he will. Good to see the Husky team have an up and coming guy.
Yeah,
I like it, but I mean, 9.2 is the story.
So
I think.
Yeah, the 9's more realistic, probably right now. But getting a podium
sparks confidence. Like I said, I hope he
right?
learns from
He
it.
isn't probably thinking, well, it's because of this and
no,
this
he
and
can't.
this.
I mean, like kind of
Just
the same
like we
thing
just
we were
talked
talking about with
about,
Chase. Yeah, they got it. It's not a web of lies that they have to live, but it's.
You think he can top
You have
5
to
at Washougal now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he could have. It was a couple times where he was fastest qualifier where I thought that he would top 5, and then he just didn't get the start or something happened. So
I was happy for him. He's got a really great personality, and I want to see him do well. So I was stoked on Casey. How about Jason Anderson's little issue during qualifying?
Yeah, well,
that was fun.
You mean the session where he was fastest qualifier?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some. So I have a the Recluse auto clutch.
Yeah.
And when I first got it, it's kind of tricky to find. Sometimes you think you're in neutral, but you're not. But when you start the bike, you don't know because it just sits there. And I was down on I was about to go into practice, and we're down in the little chute, and there's people everywhere. And I went to go blip my throttle and just went bloop, and just almost knocked a guy over in front of me. So I've had embarrassing practicing moments. It happens. It's stupid.
Yeah, he just kind of laughed about it on the podium, which I appreciated. But it was pretty entertaining. I thought that was muted. I thought it.
Hello.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I saw something on Instagram or about it before I got a chance to start watching it and see. I didn't watch qualifying.
Yeah, all I saw. Well, I had to be careful because I was out the races all day, night race and everything. So every once in a while, I caught myself opening up Instagram, like, oh wait, stop, get it out.
Didn't want to see it.
Yeah, it's just gonna. And within 5 seconds, it's gonna ruin the race for me.
Sure.
So, but I clicked on it at one point, and I just saw that video of Anderson. Yeah,
it was funny. All right, our first guest of the night's on. He's going to be brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew continue to provide the best seats and foam available. If you want the same seats used by Rockstar, Husqvarna, Hep Suzuki, and many more, then you need Guts Racing. They have numerous color possibilities, staple or Velcro installation options, wing seats, and the best foam in the business with the Phantom Ultralight seat. Don't forget they have complete seats for the Talaria and Super 73 and covers for the Sur-Ron Segway. They strive to ship orders within 36 hours, so visit gutsracing.com today. Guts Racing tonight brings us from Pro Circuit Kawasaki, Levi Kitchen. What's up, Levi?
What's up? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Good to talk to you. First things first, congrats on that overall.
Yeah.
How's that feel, man? A few days later, is it sunk in?
Yeah, for sure. It was well needed for me. It's been a little bit of a struggle. So that was sick, especially, that was my first overall. Actually, I've never had an overall. I've won some motos, but couldn't put them together. So to go 1-1, I mean, obviously you can't beat a 1-1. So that was pretty cool.
That is true. You cannot beat a 1-1. Anything particular on the day that stood out for you because honestly, from home, it looked relatively easy for you. I know you've been doing a lot of work on the bike and doing some setup changes, and we'll get to all that, but just anything in particular on the day that felt right?
I mean, honestly, the day, it was pretty similar to others. I've been qualifying pretty decent, and I qualified all right. And then I think the main thing though is just I had a good feeling about it because the week was good. I got the dirt bike, or I got it quite a bit better last week.
Yeah.
Honestly, tried a couple things, so that was huge. And then actually, me and Joey Savacci rode a little bit, and we did some pretty fun stuff, like some sprints, and we would just take off right behind each other and moto. So, the previous rounds, I feel like I've been riding okay. It's just, I've noticed in the 250 class especially, I feel like the race is kind of, the first 15 minutes, the guys are going really fast and they're sprinting. So I've just been trying to work on that. And yeah, it paid off. That first moto, I made some really quick passes in the second turn and got into second, and then just tried to, Hayden kind of pulled away a little bit at the beginning, but tried to keep that somewhat close. And then he ended up falling, so I capitalized. And it was definitely a good feeling.
Yeah, I would assume so. And I know R. Lewis Phillips talked to you after the race, and I think he asked you, after the first couple rounds, did you start to feel a little panicked? And how you mentally recovered from that? And you said, I don't know about panic, but we were just talking a little while ago, when when somebody's beating you consistently, just as a human, it's kind of got to get in your head just a little bit. As a professional athlete, you have to say, I know I can beat this guy. But, you know, subconsciously, you have thoughts going through your mind. Like, what was that process like since Hangtown to now while you're trying to get better?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird because I actually started really well at Paula.
Yep.
Obviously. And, you know, I was right where I wanted to be. And, yeah, I think I kind of got away with how I set my bike up there just because the track was so slow. And then Hangtown, I would say, is where I first noticed, like, that, you know, I still ended up on the podium, but, I mean, I got smoked kind of there. So, after that, it was a bit of a scramble, and then it kind of spiraled downhill from there. I don't even remember what Colorado didn't go well, and neither did High Point. So, yeah, it was definitely a tough few weeks, but in this sport, it's like the highs and lows. I'm kind of used to it at this point. So, I mean, I don't know. I just tried to deal with it and tried to keep a positive mindset and know that, you know, I'll figure it out. And, yeah, I mean, it ended up working out, and not everything was the motorcycle either at all. I mean, it's tough to, you know, I feel like I had to finally get a little bit more pissed off, and that seemed to help too.
Oh, I want to ask about that in a second, but
new haircut, new you.
Yeah, right. But still, is there a moment where you do feel a little bit? Well, I guess you can't. So you said how you deal with it. You got to deal with it. So what does that mean? Does that mean talking to your family, talking to a mental coach, talking to somebody else you ride with, and just saying, dude, I'm now this is what I'm thinking, or how do you actually deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just trying to, you know, just let it go on Sundays when you fly home. And also, yeah, I work with a mental coach and my practice guy, Rob, who used to be my trainer years back. He's a good dude, and he always is a super positive guy. So he never really lets me get down, or else he gets pretty mad at me. So
Nice.
We just try to keep it fun during the week. And yeah, I mean, the weekend was kind of funny because I ended up, I was talking to J-Mart and asking him if there was, you know, the creek at Spring Creek, like the one running through the middle of the track.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, it turns out there was trout in there. So on Friday, after I watched everybody ride press, I went and fished by myself for a couple of hours and caught some fish. So it was just
nice,
just a good weekend. Cleared my head, and then went out there and did pretty well. So
like it.
It was, yeah. I think I just gotta, you know, you got to keep the negative stuff out, and it's tough to do, but I think that's half the battle.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so Carmichael had the orange helmet, you know, all that kind of stuff. So yours is fishing, huh?
Yeah, fishing.
But we got to find him a pond. It's gonna be hard.
That's
gonna
what
be hard
RV
at like
used to do.
Paula and stuff. But I
RV
think
used to do that a lot. At like
really?
You'd see like at Freestone or at Spring, he'd be out there fishing.
Even if you don't catch anything, it's just like a
yeah.
And Levi, with you know, after you went 1-1 and both the podium interviews, you know, you kept it pretty normal and stuff. And one of the topics lately have been one of your competitors' podium interviews. It's kind of been one of the big topics. Do you ever think to kind of say things like that, or you just kind of keep them quiet? Or it's not really your style. Like, how do you have those thoughts when you're on the podium?
That's what I was going to ask him about, getting if that he allows that to help him get pissed off, because I was going to ask him if that affected him at all.
Honestly, not really. No, I don't know. That's just not really the person I am, and I don't know. I like to just do me, and I don't really. I mean, maybe if something like really gnarly went down, I would be a little bit more mad and bring it up, you know, in interviews or something. But I mean, also, you know, I look at these other guys that go to the 450 class and stuff, and the last thing I want to do is have a target on my back. And, you know, I just try to do me and stay out of everybody's way and just go out there and try to do my best. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the different personalities, which I think is what keeps the sport interesting. And, you know, what he's doing, I think is is good for the sport, because you have people that love it and you have people that don't. And hopefully I'm the same way. You know, maybe some people want me to act that way, but that's just not really my style. I'm kind of just a laid back dude from Washington.
Yeah.
And we like that. You know, I'm not saying like we want you to be there. It's just a curiosity thing. If it's just like, do I think this? And I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to say that. Or it's just not even really your thing. I get it.
I think
like
he just
it.
laughs at it. I've seen him laugh on the podium on the podium a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk some bike setup and changes. Let's start with the change from Yamaha to Kawasaki. Was it bigger outdoors than you thought it was? It seemed like it'd be a bigger change than Supercross.
For sure. Yeah. Supercross, man, we nailed it. Like, they came out to test in Florida, and, you know, I tested a little bit in California, but for the most part, it was pretty easy. And that bike is exceptionally good on Supercross. I loved the way it turned and the way it would hit whoops and everything. So there was nothing really that I was trying to find there. And then outdoors, you know, I think we could have had it. It probably would have went a little bit easier had I not crashed at Nashville, because I missed the few weeks that I was supposed to be testing with some pretty messed up ribs. So I didn't really get to ride at all. So we got like 1 or 2 days in of testing, and then I just showed up to Paul and raced it. And yeah, I just missed the mark a little bit. We were just way too soft. Now when I actually go back and watch and stuff, like, it's pretty obvious. So just the speeds everybody's going and the tracks and stuff. I mean, it was almost like being out there, and I probably could have pushed harder, but I just didn't feel comfortable. And I'm not really the type of rider to go way out of my comfort zone, because I just don't like hitting the ground. So
yeah, who does?
Yeah. So
Pastrana.
Yeah, it took some time for sure.
What were some of the big changes that you've incorporated over the last few month or so? Because I heard you said it was too soft. So was that just strictly suspension stuff, or were there other things that really made a big difference also?
Yeah, it was mainly suspension, and then just the normal, like, suspension, linkage, stuff like that. I just, coming from the Yamaha, it's I would always run that bike like really tall front end, low rear end, and you know, I kind of stand a lot and ride. I kind of steer with the rear. So on the Cowie, I was just struggling. Like, I felt like I could steer with the rear at times, but then it would kind of unload and push me over the front, and then the forks were too soft. So it was mainly all the high speed sections at these tracks. I was just too soft, so I couldn't push through the bumps and stuff. Which, you know, I try not to be stubborn, but I kept thinking it was okay, and the whole team was telling me, you got to go stiffer. And finally I listened, and we went stiffer, and it got better. But there was definitely some bumps. Like, we went too stiff at one point and too much this way and the other way. And, you know, I think it's a learning experience for them too, because everybody likes their bike different. And, you know, I don't know, you know, maybe the last guy that they've had that is somewhat similar to me is Adam. You know, he's 6 something, and but most of their other riders aren't quite as tall, and they set up their bikes quite a bit different than me, I would say. So, yeah, it was definitely a learning curve for both of us.
Okay.
Yeah, Levi, when you know, you talked about being in your comfort zone, having every tested and stuff like that. When you have a situation like we did the second moto, rain delay, kids get moved back, you're not really exactly sure when you're going to go, not exactly sure what the track's going to be. Do y'all have like a fire drill kind of thing practice? Did y'all have an idea of what setups, things you needed to make? Does that process kind of throw you out of your rhythm? You know, just take us through that moment.
Oh, yeah, I was actually, it started pouring and I was pretty pumped. I was like, because then it's just like, you know, I had a good first moto, and I was, oddly enough, I was almost more pumped to win that first moto than to win the overall. Like, I just needed that first moto because it was a somewhat normal track, no mud. You know, Hayden obviously fell and I got around him, but then I fell and I had to get going with them right back on me. And so for me, that was huge. And then, you know, we had that rain delay, and at that point I was like, you know, it's mud, like whatever whatever goes, it goes. It can either go really good or bad. So, I wasn't really stressing. And I think that's why, I did fairly well. I didn't even do a sight lap because I didn't want to go out there and get any negative thought of the track. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to send it on the first lap. And, which maybe I should have done the sight lap. I don't know. My dad was a little mad at me, but, and of course, I come around first lap and I crashed. So that was not ideal, but ended up getting up and
just be like, Dad, Dad, and clink your medals together. Like, like it worked. Yeah. Did y'all change the bike at all? Do you have a couple of clickers or anything like that for that kind of situation?
No. And I was kind of thinking like, maybe like before the moto, actually, I mentioned it to Dave, my suspension guy. I was like, maybe we should go softer. And I was like, you know what? No, like I'm just going to leave the bike. So, I ended up just leaving it. I kind of thought, with all the mud packing on the bike, like it'd be soft enough. So just left the bike and went out there and sent it, I guess.
Scotty mentioned the rain delay, and does that affect you at all when they kind of throws off your program just a little bit, your schedule, you're ready to go, and then all of a sudden, we're going to wait 30 minutes. We're going to wait 30 more minutes or whatever. Does it bother you at all? Or are you able just to kind of go up in the truck, chill out with the boys and have fun?
Yeah, it was pretty relaxed. Me and Ty were just chilling there. We both got really hungry, so we ended up eating more, which was kind of nice. And then, we were just chilling, waiting. And I don't know. Obviously, it was sort of chaos, but it wasn't really too bad.
Yeah.
I had that one in New Jersey. I've had a couple rain delays like that, so I'm fairly used to it now.
All right. Yeah, I figured it wouldn't bother you guys too much. It's like you're pretty locked in, and a little hiccup, no big deal. You just mentioned Ty Masterpool, your teammate, and I've been wondering this all season. I got to be honest, when you're struggling a little bit, and the new guy comes in and is winning motos and really performing a little better than you, do you kind of go, "What the fuck, man?
Hey, man, stop, cut it out, man."
I mean, I could definitely see like how, maybe from the outside it would seem that way, but I've raced Ty my whole career, and I honestly wasn't surprised. Like when I knew he was getting on the team, I'm like, all right, he's going to be one of the guys I got to beat now, because I knew he was going to be that good. So for me, it wasn't really. I definitely was like, damn, like what's he running on his bike? Like, how does he like his bike and everything? And he was obviously loving it. But it wasn't nothing major for me. I kind of, like I said, I sort of expected it from him, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate the honesty on that. Levi Kitchen tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing.
Kitchen, with that being said, did it affect your personal relationship with Ty at all? Y'all were still cool through it all? Happy for him, I guess. I mean, like, it's cool. Like,
I hate you, dude.
No, I know, but you know how, like, you may, if someone's doing that, comes in, the new guy that does good may have some disdain towards it. Then at least that's how it is in the corporate world, kind of thing. So, but I don't think you're that kind of guy, Levi. So I'm sure you were stoked for him, and it's a cool story.
Oh yeah, no, I was 100% pumped for him. I trained with him years back, and I know his family pretty well, and they're awesome people. So I was happy for him. It's a pretty cool story, and I feel he's pretty underrated, at times. And I've always known he even like second moto at Red Bud, he passed me in that second moto like 10 minutes in, and I probably would have maybe went backwards more if I didn't, like, I caught on to how he was riding and was able to follow him, and he's a super creative rider. So I think we can kind of benefit from each other. And I mean, he was stoked for me after this weekend, even being ran over 3 times on the start. So we have a pretty good friendship.
Good.
With the, it's pretty cool that at the timing of this, you go 1-1, and then now we're at your hometown track next week. The momentum definitely being carried. I know you've had some good motos and some bad motos at Washougal. Excited to taking over second in points and having some momentum going to Washougal?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it's going to be a crazy weekend. Like, it'll be cool with all the people, and I like Washougal. You know, I don't think it might not be my best track because it's more hard pack, and I like some ruts, but it can rut up pretty nice. Looks like the weather's going to be good, so I'm really looking forward to it. And just, yeah, checking that box for me. Like, you know, I got some confidence now, and I know where I expect to be now.
Well, yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, I always expect myself to be up there, but I think that's another thing that helped me through some of those lows is, like, you can always expect it from yourself, but you kind of have to face reality at times, and that's why I try not to get too down on myself when, you know, I was having some of those bad motos. It would have been easy for me to just be like, all right, well, this is where I'm at this year. Yeah. And I guess I'm not gonna get my way up there. So,
let me ask you this. So, you told Lewis Phillips also in that interview that you felt kind of lethargic, and I was wondering if you meant mentally or physically. So answer that first, because I have a follow-up question.
Definitely, it was mentally for me.
Okay.
It was, I mean, for the last, you know, it's kind of tough. Like, in Supercross, every week I had my bike where I wanted, and you just do your laps and everything's normal. And then, you know, when you're trying to find a certain feeling, like, you know, the days get a little bit longer, and you know, mentally you can have a good day at the track, but then you kind of second guess, like, you know, like, I've learned, especially this year, it's pretty tough you can't replicate the racetracks. Like, so I pretty much learned to just try to get my bike feeling somewhat decent on the practice track, and maybe a little bit sketchy on the stiff side, and then ended up working at the race. So,
yeah, well, and that's the maturity, right? You're starting to figure that out. Like, it's never going to be perfect. Yeah, I like that. That's good, and that bodes well for the rest of the season, I hope. The follow-up question on the lethargic thing was just physically at this point in the season, how do you find the balance, recovery versus training and testing? You know, obviously you were having some bike issues mid-season, and you need to ride to figure that out. But at the same time, your body needs to recover because you've already went all the way through Supercross. You're, you know, halfway through Nationals now. So you got to find a balance. How do you do that?
That's a great question. It's tough. There's a lot of times where, you know, you want to just keep hammering laps and keep testing. And that goes back, I think, the week before Red Bud. The team had a bunch of stuff for me to try, and I just couldn't get through all of it. I'm like, I could, but I think I'm going to be useless on the weekend if I ride that much. So it's tough to you just have to listen to your body and make sure that, you know, you're leaving the track and you still feel pretty good every day. Where it's like off season, it's like you just run yourself to the ground and there's no worries. So it's definitely tough, and you know, as far as the lethargic kind of mental feeling, it kind of stemmed from Supercross a little bit too. You know, like, that was a tough deal to fight through with crashing, and then, you know, not getting the championship. Obviously, that's what the goal was. So it was a bit of a stressful, I don't know, couple months, but was able to get through all that, and now it's you know, I like where I'm at on the bike and everything, so the weeks are getting a lot easier, and I think it's just put me in a better headspace.
Good. Couple more for you.
Hey, Levi, we had one of our YouTube listeners, Chase, wanted to know what your favorite grunge album is, especially with us going back to where that all started this weekend.
Oh.
Probably Dirt, yeah, by Alice in Chains. I'd have to say Dirt.
I was just thinking, if you don't say Alice in Chains, I might just hang up on you.
Yeah, definitely the Dirt album.
Yeah, I think Facelift is pretty good, but Chains in general. But yeah, Dirt's probably the best one for sure. Unplugged, yeah, Unplugged's pretty great though.
Unplugged is yeah, that one's awesome.
All right, so a couple more, and then we'll let you go. Your second points now, 51 down, yes, but second in points. So does that change anything for you, or is it right now it's just, look, man, I got to do the best I can and, continue to try to podium, like points probably are not your focus?
No, honestly, the point thing, it's like being 50 points down, obviously anything can happen. It's racing, but at this point, I'm not even, I just want to try to follow up what I did this last weekend and just keep trying to do that. Like, now it's, the goal is always to win a championship, but the focus kind of switches to now it's like, I just want to win races and keep building confidence. And, that's, at the end of the day, that's kind of the main goal now is try to win races, get on the podium, whatever it is, and whatever happens, it happens. Just put myself in a good spot. And I do feel I'm in a good spot. Obviously, there's a lot of points between us, but it is dirt bikes and crazy things happen. I mean,
we've seen that already this year.
We've seen it a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm going to close this thing out with we're actually a forum question that we're going to talk about later from Vital, but I thought I'd ask the riders that we have on tonight. Growing up, who was your local moto hero? You go to your local track and, when you're a kid, there's this guy that just absolutely rips. Did you have one?
Well, when there was a couple, like Ryan Huffman, he would always rip around, Washougal and stuff. But even at that time, he was probably in his 30s. And then another one would be like Landon Courier. Before he got injured, was always, he would come around home sometimes. And same with Justin Hill, he would pop up every once in a while for those guys. But and then another one, actually, Tommy Week. I don't know if you remember that name, but he would rip locally. Like he kind of. I don't know. He was probably the gnarliest dude that I would watch on the weekend.
What's cool? What's cool now is there's a kid that's growing up that was like, someday he's gonna be Levi Kitchen was my local, right? So
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Levi, thanks for some time tonight, man. Really appreciate it. Congrats again on the overall. Keep it rolling, dude. 4 to go, man. 4 races, 8 motos.
Thank you, boys. Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm gonna keep on. All
right, sounds good, man. We'll have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, you too.
Thanks, man. See ya. That's Levi Kitchen, brought to you by Guts Racing tonight. A-Ray needs to go early, so we're going to jump right into A-Ray. That'll affect you just a little bit.
I can handle it.
Let's see if we can get him on. Yeah. Thanks a lot, A-Ray. But that was a good interview. I think there was some good stuff in there from
Levi's,
some good stuff in there from Levi.
He's not going to be your most super energetic all over the board, guys, but the content's always good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, our next guest he's on a little early. He's going to be brought to you tonight by ProX, which is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road and supporting teams such as Ampro Yamaha, Pro Circuit Kawasaki, and SLR Honda. They've been supplying quality components for almost 50 years, from complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance, including filters, chains, and sprockets. ProX aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. Find ProX at your local dealer or visit prox-usa.com and search for parts for your bike. Tonight, ProX brings us, I should have used FXR for this intro. Tonight, ProX brings from O'Neill, USA and Swap Moto Live, Mr. Alex, Mother effing Ray. What's up, Ray?
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, not much. Just wrapped up doing some testing, and we actually did some Swap Moto Live shows today. I interviewed Marvin Muscan.
Oh.
So, yeah. Long day in the trenches of Southern California. A lot of driving, a lot of riding, almost passed out. I haven't rode that much in a long time. So,
well, I've got some questions for you that we'll get to, but based off what you just said, let's shift gears. I noticed earlier, there's a forum topic on Vital that says, Marvin Muscan's coming back. Is he coming back to racing, A-Ray?
No, he's not.
I didn't think so.
Now, he is, what he said was, he is coming to, he's doing Walton. In Canada.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's cool. He's doing some one-off races and stuff like that, which is cool that we talked about and stuff. But yeah, once that drops, go check it out on swapmotolive.com. Just go to the places. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll get into some more Swap Moto Live stuff and O'Neill USA stuff in a second. But first, I got
he smokes everybody at that Canadian race, right?
Marvin?
Yeah.
I would think so.
Like, I mean,
I would say so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just,
But
I know Dylan's good, but
I got a bone to pick with A-Ray first.
oh, okay, yeah.
I got a bone to pick with
what did you-
Darkside.
here we
What
go.
did you say last night, dude? Because my phone started blowing up today, and I texted Steve, and he's like, "Yeah, A-Ray came on." And I went and watched it. I was like, "What the, bro?"
Hey Ray, I was listening. I was
You're
listening
right,
to it. I was listening to it last night, A-Ray, and you didn't say anything out of line. I'm just going to say that the floor is yours.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, hey, you posted the freaking thing with the set,
The Tool lyrics. I posted some lyrics, and then my mom.
No, that wasn't cool, was it? Scar Tissues?
Okay.
That's Red Hot Chili Peppers, bro.
Well, I did Tool first, and then I did Chili Peppers, and my mom and my sister were like, well, "What are those lyrics? I don't like them." And I was like, just getting bombarded with that stuff, so I took it down, and then apparently I got berated last night. Like, I thought we were bros.
Yeah, bro. You gotta own it. You gotta own it, dude. If your heart's broken, own it, dude. Well, you got your friends, like,
I'm fine.
me, Steve, everybody around you. That'll Lewis, if he knows how relationships go, I'm not sure. But I just we'll have you guys, have your buddies bring you back up.
I don't know what you're talking about, A-Ray. Everything is fine.
He's not fine, A-Ray.
I'm fine.
Oh, dude. There's a tear in his beer for sure. Dude.
There's a tear in my beer because I'm
not
crying
good.
for
No,
you.
because I sent a text. I sent a text because I was curious how much the keepers were in the middle of it, right? Like if they're like involved or if they're like in the middle of it. If you're texting
We do not need to be talking about this right now.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, move on. Ask me a question.
All right. What is new with O'Neill USA? How are things going with the real life job, the fam? How is life outside of professional racing?
It's good. I would say first 6 months were tough. There was a lot of changes that happened super quick to me, right? I mean, I got married. I moved away from, a lot of the people that I hung out with every day.
Yeah.
Same with my wife. She made gnarly sacrifices, moving away from her family and her friends, starting a new job, got a dog got a new dog and left my old dog, which is a bummer. I seen him actually this morning, Johnny. But, it was tough. Life slows down a lot whenever you quit racing, like you go to the races every weekend for 10, 12 years, Thursday through Sunday, it's your life. You're getting on a plane on Thursday, you're flying there and press day and racing and then flying home on Sunday. It's a lot, and the tie pace and once all that ends, man, it slows down. It was tough for me, at first, but we got in a groove now. Like we're good. I mean, it's awesome. I haven't had to experience, or I haven't gotten to experience, doing other things on the weekends, like going to the beach or hanging out, going to bars, or, eating food that I wanted to eat. Hell, I gained 25 pounds. Who gives a fuck anymore? I don't. So, you know what I mean? It's,
Sure.
it's definitely a lot of getting used to, but it's just, you got to come to realize that, the gate drops whether you're there or not, So
yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear you're adjusting. You sound good, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and O'Neill's been freaking awesome, man. The guys there, they're like family. They take great care of me. The 2025 year is, just dropped, and we're getting all of our amateur kids dialed in for Loretta's, and they're going to be all in our 2025 year, so that's going to be cool. Everything's pumping. Everything's going great,
Good to hear.
We're enjoying the ride through the drive-through.
Oh, 100%. You should see me. I look like I should be on an O'Neill commercial right now. I got a hat, shirt, everything.
Nice. I did want to ask you, Ray, like I've heard you a couple of times say that they're like, are you miss it at all? And you're like, and you watch a race and you're like, yeah, I don't want to be a part of any of that. I know you still do some like amateur stuff and like one-off races and stuff, but throughout this outdoor season, has not one time you've looked at it and like, man, I wish I was still riding.
Maybe Southwick, just because I like that place, but other than that, no. The guys are so good at what they do, and And the guys that are racing now, I mean, it just keeps getting younger and younger, and the level just keeps getting raised. You know, the bar keeps getting raised every year. And for me, right, like I was never really that good, you know, to begin with, you know, and I felt like, you know, I got the sketchy name, you know, but I almost had to ride on the edge to be as good as I was, because I don't know, I didn't really see myself as that good. I felt like I made something out of a little bit, you know, like, you know, and I had to work my ass off, you know, because I wasn't, you know, the best. And it, for me, getting older, you know, getting married and that type of stuff, I finally just woke up one day. I was like, you know what, dude, I'm 30 years old. You know, I'm about to get married. I got nothing to show for other than a bunch of damn good memories, you know, and some, you know, some great times with some buddies, you know. So let's not, you know, push the envelope too far and risk, you know, getting hurt, you know, real bad. And yeah, just freaking hang up the boots and say, see you later, you know, just wipe my hands clean and, you know, go on about my day. It was definitely tough, but dude, I mean, shit, there's way more to life than riding a motorcycle. I've found that out for sure.
That's good to hear, because you're right. You're right. I mean, I'm sure at times you miss like the bright lights, you know, and the gate drop and the fan screaming. But life moves on, right?
Yeah. No, now I'm a part of that. Like I'm a has-been. So like now every time I tell a story about how like what I used to do, it's like I walked up the hill, you know, both ways to school and all that stuff. Like I won, you know, I think I told somebody I got like 10 LCQ wins the other day, and I only got 6. You know, so like all of my stories are just getting bigger and better.
I love it.
That's the stage I'm at. You know what I mean?
I love that. That's great. How much, you said you're riding some, you're doing some stuff to swap, but like how often do you actually get to ride? Is it a couple times a month?
Yeah, we'll ride once a month, maybe.
Ooh, that's not good, eh, Ray? Come on, man.
No, well, you know, and there's a track down the road, you know, from the office that we'll go to on Wednesday nights. But dude, I'll be honest, like it's so much different, you know, riding for fun versus riding for a purpose. I don't know, like for me, I feel like I got to have that carrot in front of me, you know, like just going out there and cruising around with the boys. Like I've done it for so long. I would rather, I feel like I need something to chase. Right. Like, so like maybe next year, whenever I might try and do Loretta's. I don't know yet.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
You know, I would like to go back and do it. Sometimes I'll get a wild hair up my ass and then I'll think about it and I'm like, yeah, that's not really a good idea. You know what I mean? So, I don't know yet. We'll see. Getting older, you know, I tell you what, I'm more sore now then, dude, it's like I went to all this shit. Like as soon as I quit racing, everything started hurting worse. I'm like, dude, you know, I used to crash for a living, and now I'm hurting. I don't know why I'm hurting now. I don't do it anymore. I should be all healed up.
Yeah, well, it's because you kept crashing, and now it's all catching up. Now that I
just took the trash
training.
out, man. What the heck?
Yeah,
dude, I know I slept on my neck wrong, dude. I can't move my neck. I haven't been able to move my neck for 2 weeks.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
Welcome
man.
to the old age, Ray.
It sucks.
You did go back home, I think, in January and do a race?
Yeah. So my parents own a night track. There's actually a race there this weekend. I'm flying out tomorrow night to help my parents, do all that stuff, water the track. My dad, he's getting a little bit older and needs a little bit more help. So, we're flying home tomorrow, me and my wife, and we're gonna help my pops, with the racetrack this weekend. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, sounds like it. One of these days I need to get up there, man. It was really, I only went up there the one time to Muddy Creek, and that area is just beautiful.
That's all the way on the East Coast. That dirt's not as good as what we got.
Oh, I thought you were close to there.
No, we're west side, dude. I'm about an hour from Reddit.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, I'll be up there in that area a couple of weeks from now. Then you going to come out and just hang out, or you're still going to be back in California?
No, dude. I'm a carpet walker, man. I got to be in the office.
Yeah. Man, 9 to 5. 9 to 5.
But hey, maybe, if you do get away one day and you got a bike or something, maybe we can line something up. You come out and cruise around for a few laps or something.
We'll try to figure that out. Yeah, I would love to do that. I'll holler at you on that one. Okay, a few more things. I want to talk about the current state of outdoors, but how's the KX500? That's the next thing I want to get to.
Oh, it's badass. I rode it the other day. crashed my brains out. Haven't touched it since. Haven't even washed it. But this thing freaking runs like a scalded dog, dude.
How'd you crash on it, man? What were you doing?
Oh,
just
dude,
get away from you?
Freaking big when I should have zagged, man. Just full high tide.
Jesus. Crazy. You got anything, Scotty, before we get into outdoors?
Well, I was just gonna, he mentioned earlier that it took him about 6 months to kind of get used to the new role, and you changed your career and your relationship life all in one fell swoop. So I know it took some adjusting. How do you enjoy the 9 to 5, come home, eat dinner with the wife kind of thing? Like what's been the biggest eye-opening experience through that process?
It's just like when you get into a rhythm of it, it feels like you're in a simulation sometimes, dude, because you get into the same shit. Like you come home, you eat dinner, you sit on the couch and you watch some dumbass movie on Netflix every night, and like, it's easy to get into that rhythm. Sometimes I haven't really figured out what, I don't know. I'm still new to the area, right? I mean, we're doing, fun stuff and all that, and it's nice, it's slow pace and all that, but, I'm adjusting. No, it's good. Like, I will say that like work is the best part. You know what I mean? Like work and all that, and like, and being married and spending time with my wife, that's been like the best part. The guys that I work with, they're great. I picked it up. It was a great transition because I knew the product so well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being with O'Neill for a couple of years, actually like even having my own little like merch, like website and like little merch thing, that helps me like just on the website side and all of that. So I kind of already had like some of it down, it's just, it's the more and more I'm with the company, the more roles I feel like I'm bringing on, and it's been freaking awesome. It's cool. I feel like I'm making the world a better, safer place, gearing these young kids up in the O'Neill gear,
Let's do it. Yeah.
It's good stuff, man. I think I told you this, like the first real gear I ever had, 1990, was O'Neill. The pants were purple, like hot pink or whatever, hot pink in the one side of the leg and turquoise blue on the other, and then flop on the back.
Yeah, it was crackle.
Dude, those things were so cool. And I had the greatest gear bag ever made was this O'Neill gear bag I had in 1990 that was the size of my living room. Like
you won't beat the quality at O'Neill, dude. You won't beat it. People have tried. They won't do it.
Can't do it.
Cannot do it.
I love it. A-Ray is brought to you by Pro X tonight. All right, A-Ray, outdoors, man. Some special things happening this year. Let's start with 450s just real quick. Look, you're watching, you see what's going on. Jet's something special, but you never know what's going to happen, man. And let's just start with that. What are you seeing up until Jet's injury? What were you seeing out of the top 3 guys? What was standing out to you?
Obviously Chase, he's a bulldog, right? Which he's changed his riding style a little bit too, because when he first got on the 450, he was almost kind of like Jet, more finesse, and
Giselle
and all that. But it seemed like he put an extra couple plates on the freaking on the bench press there, and now he's just a damn bulldog. He took a play out of one of Eli's books there. He just looks like a bulldog now. So with that, I don't know if I agree with his bike settings. His bike it just looks a little soft to me. I mean, hey, he makes it work. I mean, he's the one who's winning on the weekends right now. That's awesome. But I mean, Jet's just, I mean, he's just a freak of nature, right? Like I said, like I spoke about, like the youth elevating the level. He was a level ahead of everybody, right? I mean, even I feel like even Chase a little bit. I feel like Chase had the speed, but it was almost like once he got up there, he would make 2 or 3 mistakes. It just wasn't his time yet. But Chase is closing that gap for sure.
Yeah, so I want to ask you this. We were having this discussion. I'm working on a story for Vital that kind of based off this thought process I had. Up until Jet's injury, I feel as though Chase and probably even Hunter were a little bit like, all right, Jet's better. Like, I'm not going to admit he's better. I'm not even admitting it to myself. But in the very back of my mind, I have to be almost perfect, and he has to make a mistake for me to win. That has to get to you a little bit. Then when he gets hurt, I feel like there would be a shift, almost like, oh, okay, my odds just got better. everything changes.
There's definitely a shift. There was definitely a shift, but I think that they were thinking that. I don't think that they would ever admit that just because, they're racers.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, they think that they're freaking the best, anytime they freaking hop on the track.
Sure.
So, which I don't necessarily agree on the Sexton side just because of how bad his freaking starts were. He's got to get in front of Hunter and Jet. He's got to get in front of them off the start because them two are going to be going around the first turn, first and second, almost every single time.
Yeah.
He's got to find a way to get in front of the Honda off the gate. I don't know. They need to put like a freaking, like a NOS button on his freaking KTM or something. Figure it out because that's the only thing he's missing. If he gets his starts down, I think that Chase would run away with it. If not, it would be a very, very good battle between him and Jet, right?
Okay, so you think one-on-one, everything's the same off the start. Chase is regularly better than Jet.
I wouldn't say regularly better. I just wouldn't say better. I would say that they're the same.
Okay, all right. I like that, Scotty.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's always Chase freaking catching Jet. It's not anything, So I feel like if we flip that script a little bit, we might see a pretty damn good race.
I agree. All right, now that we are where we are, we've had 2 races without Jet. I feel Chase has elevated past Hunter. I kind of feel like Chase and Hunter were pretty close, and I feel like the gap's gotten bigger in the last 2 races. Huh?
Yeah, I can agree with that. It almost seems like Hunter the past 2 weeks. I don't know if he's, if it's from like a crash or something that's hurting him, or if he's got a little bit of a fatigue because this is the first year he's raced this many races in a row, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I feel like he might be hitting that like mid-season dullness, right? Like he doesn't have the fire that he had coming out the first few rounds of the outdoors or something, right? He might be coming to the races a bit tired, trying to close that gap to Chase,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough right now. You're getting more towards the dog days of summer where it's hot, it's dirty, it's humid, and it can catch up to you. And the thing about it is, Chase, I mean, he's not going to get tired. He's got reserves in the tank. I mean, that dude is an animal whenever it comes to outdoors. So it's going to be tough to close that gap for Hunter now, I feel like.
I agree. All right, let's go 250s real quick. Let's just talk about the phenom, what do we want to call him, Hayden Deegan, class of the field. But here's what I want to touch on first. You may love this stuff. We were just talking about it. I don't like all the comments, man. He's got one coming.
I don't like it either. I don't mind it. Like, hey, like if you guys clean each other out like Bradshaw and Chicken used to, hey, go for it.
Yeah.
Talk all the shit that you want to talk on the podium, But if it's just you and like you have nothing to back it up on, like you look over the footage and it's clearly, not anyone's fault. It's a racing incident, and then you go and say that stuff on the podium. I just feel like it's like, what? It's just confusion, right? So I'm not about that. Like I understand the clickbait, the youth that his following and all this. He's got to have like this personality. I don't know. Just be real.
I think that is what it is, because when I talk to him, he's not that way, And last time he was on the show, I told him, I said, man, sometimes like the situation with what was it? The first turn at Detroit, where they all went down. But he blamed Vial, right?
Oh,
It wasn't really,
it was Haymaker.
huh? Was it Haymaker? I thought that was Vial.
No, there was one where he
Well,
went.
there's a couple times where he got mad at
pretty much all of them.
Yeah, so, and I told him, I said, dude, I don't love it when you go do that. He went after Hammaker at like Birmingham or somewhere later on.
Yeah,
But
okay.
Anyway, I said, I don't really like it when you do that. I wish you would like chill down a little bit, maybe take a look at the video. And he's like, I do kind of get a little, he said, I need to work on my maturity, basically. So he kind of admitted to it, but I do think some of it's character.
Yeah, no, and I get it. Like, hey, like if you're wanting to win and you're doing like a mental game on yourself, like all that stuff, I get it 100%. It's been done before, with Ricky and like all the greats, But it's like if you're wanting to win a championship, it's not a short championship, right? I mean, you got Supercross, you got motocross, you have FMX. You're going to be racing these guys for the next 10 years. If you stay healthy, all that stuff.
Yeah.
why make enemies now in your second year that you're going to have to just race these dudes, 250 class, 450 class, all of that for the next 10 years? Why make enemies now if you're wanting to be a champion, right?
100%
What
agree.
champion have you guys seen that gets caught up in all of the drama? I mean, Velo never got caught up in the drama. Dungey never got caught up in the drama. Like Eli never gets caught up in the drama. You know, like, so what are you going off of, right? I get it. Like James, Ricky, and Chad, they had their little scuffle, but dude, they were lapping third place. You know what I mean? They were leaps and bounds ahead of everybody, and it was just those three, you know, racing each weekend, right? They could start last and get up to third, second, whatever. But which, I mean, that's what Hayden's doing right now. But at the same time, it's like, dude, some of these guys aren't going to roll over.
No.
You know what I mean? You know?
I think it's a lot better to go out like a Dungey or Eli, and then you go win, and then the guy you beat comes up and congratulates you and says, yeah, and good race. There's mutual respect. Like I like that. I prefer that type of thing better. I like the mutual respect. I like when Travis Pastrana would go, dude, so-and-so was just fast tonight. That was awesome. He just kicked my butt. Yeah. Like I like that. That's just more my style.
You don't have to start drama for people to like get your back and think like you're some badass or something. I mean, hell, look at freaking AP. Everybody loves AP.
True.
Who's he talking shit about? Nobody. Right? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's, you know, whatever.
All right,
YouTube might freaking catch on fire, but who knows? Who cares?
Oh yeah, I'm over here putting them out right now.
I think he's talking about it. All right, last one. Ryder D. Ryder D. Francisco is a kid that, man, I've liked since I first met him a number of years ago. Expected big things out of him. I feel like he's struggling a little bit. Any thoughts on Ryder? Know anything about him? Like, what do you see from this kid?
I think he's going to take a little bit more time. I think he's a diamond in the rough a little bit. You know, he's going to be one of those kids who takes a little bit more time, but once it clicks, it clicks. You know, he's figuring out how to sprint speed. He's got amazing talent on a motorcycle. You know, this weekend we've seen a little bit of it, you know, with him in that second moto. I just think that, you know, if he starts up front, you know, he's going to stay there. But if he starts in the back, it's so crazy with the 250 class, man, because from first to 15th, it seems like everyone's going to go in like 90-0, like wide open, and they're all fast and they're all good dudes. So if you don't start up there, you're not going to bridge that gap, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I personally, like, I think he's done better since he moved back to Bakersfield a little bit. You know, it's tough being in Southern California. I think that some of these guys would benefit maybe changing up their program a little bit more. You know, I think that I personally think, I mean, I know Davey Millsaps he's one of my really good friends who's in my wedding. Do I think that Juju should be in Havasu right now? No, I think that he should be on the East Coast training a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that he shouldn't be in Southern California. I think some of these guys should take a risk and maybe go to NCF, maybe go to the Club MX or you know, somewhere in Florida, Sandbox for a week or two in between the break or something, and ride something different, try something different, you know, get away from the public tracks and do something. I just think that a lot of these guys, sometimes they beat themselves up a little bit, but they just might need a refresh.
I think you're right. I think that's good advice from A-Ray. Good advice, Alex. I like it. I appreciate you coming on here tonight. You did just mention your wedding and Davey Millsaps. How was that wedding? I wonder.
I had way too much fun.
Yeah, would have been nice.
Yeah, didn't even do our last dance because I was tacoed.
I know. You told me. You told me. I didn't get to witness it, but yep.
Oh, come on, Dark. We could have got you in.
He'd have found a reason not to go. Don't worry.
I was there
at that point in time, dude.
I was there, and then A-Ray was like, "Dude, I should have invited you." I was like, "Yeah, it's whatever, man.
Just show up."
Bro, that's not, dude. I don't know. Not how it went.
I'm just messing with you, dude. All right. I appreciate you jumping on here tonight. Tell the wife I said hi. Good talking to you. Proud of you, man.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate it. Proud of you too, man. Hey, better days ahead, dude. There's more fish in the sea.
We're all good, dude. It's all good, A-Ray. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. All right. Dang, dude. All right. I'm just looking out for my buddy.
I know. Thank you, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, man.
All right.
See ya. Bye.
Alex Ray tonight brought to you by ProX. That's good.
Yeah. A-Ray's always fun.
Yeah, he's fun. All right, we're going to jump in. We're going to go backwards to the X-Brand Forum check-in. X-Brand is your choice for clear vision and a leader in motocross and off-road goggles. X brand is used by many of the top GNCC riders, including the 2023 XC1 champion Craig DeLong, National Hare and Hound champion Dalton Shurry, AMA National Enduro champion Grant Baylor. Lyndon Snodgrass uses them, as well as motocross, supercross, and arena cross riders like Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Norn, Henry Miller, Michael Hicks, Richard Taylor, Jerry Robin, and many more. Visit EKSbrand.com or go to your local dealership and ask for X Brand, distributed through WPS. The X Brand Forum check-in tonight is, as I mentioned a little while ago, entitled, Tell Us About Your First Local Moto Hero, posted by Rupert X. He says, when you first attended local motocross races, who was that individual that you really admired? For me and other youngsters growing up in the mid-'70s in New England, Jimmy Ellis was the man. We were absolutely in awe of this rowdy gentleman. Scotty, and this is for our listeners, MotoXpodshow@gmail.com. I want to hear your stories on this. Who were your moto heroes at your local track? They don't have to be guys that were big-time pros. It might have just been a local fast guy. Scotty, who stood out for you? Anybody?
Well, when I was young, I have to think about for a second when I was younger, but I do remember when the Disney Channel Sean Hackley thing came out.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we all lost our minds.
Yeah.
Like everybody was like trying to talk to him and stuff. He's the next James Stewart, and I remember that. I know I do remember Bogarts a lot.
No S.
Bogard.
D in the end.
You knew who I was talking about.
Yeah, I was just letting you know.
Local. Yeah, Jesse Moore was fast.
I love Jesse back in the day.
He was fast.
He was a really nice guy.
On a KX125, yeah.
I think he was on a KTM when I remember him riding.
Okay, I remember him on a KX125.
Yeah. So here's my Jesse Moore story. I met him when Buffalo Creek was still hot and having a lot of races, and they were having like a big pro race after the Swan Pro Challenge. Mm-hmm. And I went out to Buffalo Creek the week before this race, and there was a pro section there where he'd built these huge sand doubles. And I practiced like all afternoon trying to figure out how to hit them and double through them. And there was a sweet spot to get it. And so I was ready for the next weekend, right? For this big race. I was doing the amateur weekend, of course, so I was ready because these things were massive and they were super deep sand. Mm-hmm. I was like, nobody in my class is going to do these, but I got them.
Yeah.
So we get out there that day and they're like, all right, only the pros are running that section. I was like, crap. Mm-hmm. So took my advantage away. But I remember during practice kind of being out there and watching Jesse, and he was struggling through them. And I stopped him or something. He was standing there and I was like, hey, you don't know who I am. I'm no talent whatsoever. But the way I figured these out and the way it was this. And then like the next lap he did what I said and it worked.
You're like, I'm a genius.
Yeah, I'm a coach.
Yeah.
from then on, like whenever I'd see Jesse, he would remember me and we'd talk and it was cool. But Jesse was just a cool dude.
Yeah. I remember him growing up. And then I remember watching the Whartons a lot.
Yeah.
They were kind of the same age as me, so I don't know if it's like really looked up to, but it was always like, I mean, I wasn't touching that. Like,
yeah, but still, like that's the fast guys.
Yeah. Well, sure. I remember Wharton would ride at 85 in the 125 schoolboy class, and the only person he wouldn't beat is his brother, and he'd be right on him. Only difference was his brother had 40 more cc's than he did,
right?
So, or 30, whatever. I don't math, but but yeah,
I don't 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's what I remember a lot of.
Okay.
Who else? Who else do you remember?
Well, TJ sent his in.
Okay.
And he said
four-wheelers don't count.
No, he said Jamie Guida. That's cool. Thanks, TJ.
He didn't.
You don't know. No, so I started racing in Southern California. I only did a couple races out there, but the kid that got me into racing was a kid named Tracy Asher, or TJ Asher. He actually used to race with Kiefer, which I didn't know Kiefer then. Mm-hmm. Very, very fast 80 kid in SoCal. So that was sort of my first hero. I thought he was the fastest guy I'd ever seen because he was. Then I moved to Texas, and Dennis Hawthorne and Bogard. Those were the guys. Hawthorne was, an adult and a pro and just dominating it, like Lake Whitney and Swan and doing cool things. And then Bogard was just unbelievably fast. Like, I think, he beat Ricky Carmichael fairly often. Not often. He beat him multiple times at big races, would give him a run for his money. And yeah, I remember going out and watching him do things at Swan or even at 95 Dallas Supercross at the old stadium. They used to have the amateur days, and they would put a roller in front of the triple because they didn't want any amateurs jumping the triple. Well, he would wheelie it on the 80 and still do the triple
Yeah.
and like be turning backwards and stuff. He would just do stuff like that. And it was just, I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So those would be my guys. Bogard, Hawthorne, Tracy Asher.
Yeah. Demuth was one other one.
Yeah. That was a little like, I wasn't racing a lot in that time frame.
Oh, okay. Like the late 90s.
Yeah,
early 2000s?
I had gotten hurt a couple times pretty bad, and I just quit. And then I got married and had a kid and I wasn't even really, I missed a lot of the mid 90s racing or late 90s racing because of that. So, yeah, I hate to say that, but it's the truth. So I didn't see a lot of Demuth until he was like an arena cross.
Yeah.
Any responses on it? No, but I thought maybe you were looking at YouTube.
No, you don't want to know what's going on in the chat.
I don't?
No.
Okay. Barnett clutch performance of the week. Barnett Dirt Digger clutch kits have 75 years of experience behind every kit. Engineered for maximum performance, Dirt Digger clutch kits feature friction materials formulated exclusively for Barnett. Get yours at barnettclutches.com and get 10% off. You got a Barnett clutch performance of the week? Could easily be either one of our winners.
Yeah, I think you would. Let's go Cochran.
Okay, that's what I said. 9-2 Casey.
Yeah,
I think that was a hell of a clutch win or moto ride in the second moto. Held on for the second overall, rode really well. But then I also think Levi, man, the 1-1.
Yeah, that was clutch.
Obviously, Chase came in clutch too, but Levi's was really impressive. And I think that's going to, I do believe it's going to kind of elevate him coming into Washougal and make a difference for these next few rounds. So if he goes out and wins Washougal, I'm going to kind of put that on this win at Millville. I think that confidence and the momentum.
But, Hayden's probably arguably one of his best rides was at Washougal. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's
I know, but it's a perfect time for him to get momentum. I mean, you never know.
And Deegs might be playing it a little safe. We don't know. I don't think so, but
there's a lot of talent in the 250 class. Starts are crazy. There's a lot of people trying to go for it. We just saw, his muffler. Like, what happens if that muffler goes and he didn't finish that moto?
I was surprised by that.
Anything can happen.
Yep.
Yeah. So you just got to keep going. Like Levi said, he's not really worried about points. He's just trying to go do the best he can. And so maybe
that might be beneficial too.
Take some of the pressure off. Just go out and try to win. Yeah. I'd like to see. I mean, it's been like. We predicted this at the beginning of the season. Like we said, there was going to be a lot of 2.7, 4.3, 1.5 stuff, and there has been.
Sure.
Like you never really, a couple bike things. Track goes a certain way. Mentally, they're in a certain place. Physically, they're in a certain place. If someone goes down, something happens. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. So it's been kind of on par for what we expected the season to be.
Agreed. TJ, what was your clutch performance of the week? Oh, you're not here again.
Yeah.
Shit. TBolt USA top 5. TBolt USA. If you are a pit bike enthusiast and love shredding around on a CRF 110, KLX 110, or whatever you have, then you need to have TBoltUSA.com bookmarked on your web browser. TBolt USA is a pit bike supply site that is everything you need for your pit bike, from BBR handlebars to D&M shocks, and even full bikes from YCF and Pitster Pro bikes. TBolt USA has it all. They even have stuff for the Chinese bikes that are so difficult to find. You'll find pit bikes, engines, and parts at TBolt USA. All right, the TBolt USA top 5 horror movies this week is the top 5 horror movies. Next week, you came up with this topic. So listen up, guys. This would be a good one for you to get involved with. MotoXpodshow@gmail.com. Scotty said, top 5 things that motocross riders find normal, but to everyday people would be strange or unusual.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That's the best way we can word it, right? Well, okay, so Vince Pell, owner of TBolt USA, sent his top 5 horror movies in. The first one is called The Picture of Dorian Gray from 1945. Never heard of it, but it's considered a classic example of gothic horror. This was my dad's favorite. Remember watching it with him as a kid. 2, Stephen King's Firestarter. 3, Stephen King's Misery. 4, Stephen King's Carrie.
Stephen King fan, huh?
And then Psycho. I'm a big Stephen King fan, but I don't care for his movies. I like the book, so interesting. But those are his 5. Do you have 5, or do you need me to go first?
You go ahead.
Okay. I put number 1 is The Conjuring. That's the first movie in many, many years. And it's kind of old now, but that scared me. Like literally watching it, I was like freaked out. It got me. The Conjuring was good. The follow-up Annabelle I thought sucked, but Conjuring was awesome. Nightmare on Elm Street 1, I was just a big Freddy Krueger fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think 1's the best. Not really scary now.
Yeah,
maybe not even
then.
scary then, but I thought it was cool. I just thought Freddy was cool.
Yeah.
I liked it, so it was one of my favorites. Black Phone is a movie that came out in the last few years. It's kind of a thriller that I thought was really good. The Strangers, they're like a home invasion with these people with masks.
Yeah.
That one I thought was fantastic. I loved werewolf movies when I was a kid, so I put The Howling. I think that's just a classic. It, new one, old one. I just like it. That's one of my favorite books. It's a pretty kind of a scary book. There's others, but I think those are mine. I like the original Halloween's really good. So yeah, those are mine. What do you got?
The Conjuring is. That's just.
You said you weren't a big horror guy.
I'm not.
So that's
okay,
fine.
This is my reason why I don't watch horror movies, especially when it's stuff like The Conjuring. Like that's kind of like real things and
what's based off a true story supposedly.
Yeah, like I believe in that kind of stuff, and so what the reason I don't like scary movies is because I'll think about them for like days after.
Really?
Not like, oh, Scotty gets nightmares. It's not like I get nightmares. It doesn't even affect my sleep.
Yeah.
It's just that like throughout the day, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about it a lot.
Okay.
And so I just don't enjoy them that much. I'm on some kind of spectrum, so I don't really like jump scares. I don't really like loud abrupt noises. So, but anyways, some of the ones that I have watched and thought were good over the years. Conjuring's one of them. I remember Wrong Turn was pretty freaky, like cannibalism kind of thing. I do like zombie movies. So like I don't know if you'd call I Am Legend like a scary movie. I guess it's like
I don't think I've seen that one. I think I know what it is.
But like a post-apocalyptic stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Like World War Z, stuff like that. I like those. I don't know if those are really scary movies.
More thriller probably, but I'll let you have it.
I remember so like I was pretty like I had certain things that I couldn't watch and stuff at my house, but I had one of those buddies that the mom let us watch whatever we wanted to. Yeah. And so I remember watching one of the Child's Play Child's Play movies. Like it was like 3 or something like that. And I remember it was raining that night too, and like the end scene was like a stormy scene, and I had to go home like a couple houses down
in the rain.
Yeah, in the rain, and I was just like was scared, was just sprinting as hard as I could, and I tripped over a gas meter and just like ate shit in the yard, and just just ruined my clothes. My mom wondered what happened to my clothes because I just soaked them and ruined them.
Chucky was gonna get me.
yeah. So one of those. Yeah, I think that's about 5. Yeah. I thought that the Conjuring Annabelle series were entertaining.
Like I said, I didn't like Annabelle, but
just the whole kind of concept of those series. Yeah. I don't really remember.
Even like Poltergeist as a kid was pretty good.
I have watched Poltergeist. That's not bad.
What's the?
I remember watching The Ring. The Ring scared the crap out of me.
The Ring was pretty good. Yeah, I forgot about The Ring.
Yeah.
What's The Exorcist? The original Exorcist is pretty gnarly. Just I enjoy those. Like I get scared. Like watching them. Like right now, if we were watching them in the daylight and I was watching them, I'd probably still be kind of like nervous because I know the jump scare's coming.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I'm not a big jump scare guy. I like good movies, but I'm not a big.
It's kind of like a roller coaster. Like,
what was the Alien movie that came out a couple years ago? With the farmers, it was
Signs.
No, it was just a couple years ago. It was recent, and it was I can't think of the guy's name. He's been coming out with Jordan Peele movies.
Oh yeah, all his movies are pretty good. Yes. Was that the one with the alien?
It was eating the cows and stuff, and ended up sucking them all up.
I just watched that recently.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
Yeah, he's got all his movies are pretty. I can't remember. He's got like 3 or 4 movies.
Yeah,
and they're all pretty good.
Nope, that's what it was called.
There you go. Yeah, they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
All his stuff I liked. Yep. I kind of binged all his stuff like a few months ago, just like over a weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
So we'll put those on there.
Evan's Coolant emails. Evan's waterless coolant protects your engine because it always stays liquid cool. Steam inside the engine creates hot spots and detonation, but with Evans, the metal is always liquid cooled, used by HRC Honda, Factory Beta USA, and Pro Factory Yamaha, and lots of other teams. Regardless of sponsorship, Evans is in the bikes on the podium. Okay, so Vince from TBolt sent in a email, but I think I want to save this one for next week when Scotty's here. So we're going to skip that one.
I'm here.
Or when TJ's here, sorry.
That's funny that you say that because the chat was just joking about one of them said that I'm TJ's son and he can't convince him otherwise. Oh. So it's right out. It's kind of funny the timing that you said that.
All right, Luke Cadigan sent in he's been to Texas. I don't have the email in front of me right now, but he wanted to know what our favorite riding spots in Texas are. I feel like we've talked about this before. But go ahead.
None
of these are moto related other than this one. Just so you know.
Kind of like, I don't know why. I guess it's because I'm just poor. I don't know. I'm the worst at have really been to
a lot of tracks,
cool places.
Sure.
Like I've never been to Cycle Ranch.
It's a good ride, man. It's like 5 hours.
I was the only person in Texas that didn't ride Moser Valley. Like there's been a couple. I haven't rode Master Pool's place. I haven't rode Underground in years.
Much, yeah.
I don't know. Just end up just not going to those places. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of good places though. We were actually talking about that this weekend. Some of my buddies of how many, like really, and like when you really think about it, this area is probably one of the best for just tracks in general.
There's so many. There's private.
Like you go to Arkansas or Oklahoma, you might have like 2 or 3, you know, and we have 2 or 3 within 45 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I agree.
I guess some ones that people should go to. Like, should we talk about the big ones that everybody knows about, or some of the ones that people don't realize?
Give 3 or 4 that you would suggest going to.
Well, I mean, now Billadilla. Billadilla's great.
Yep.
Everybody kind of knows about like Underground and Master Pool's place and Tapped, and which I haven't rode any of those places. They're kind of more training facility, anyways.
So just tell him the places that are your favorites. That's what he wants to know.
Okay, I'm trying to think. You go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think the obvious are like Billadilla, Johnsonville, Swan.
Johnsonville's good. Swan, yeah.
Oak Hill's cool. Cycle Ranch is really good. Three Palms is a lot of fun. So I think those would be mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I would probably agree. I do like. Don't expect it to be like premier place, but Athens is fun for as close as it is to me.
That race fun. You weren't.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, yeah, you were there. That track was more fun than the old track to me. The main track.
Oh, I don't know. I like the old track too.
I had so much fun that day.
It's different, yeah.
So I like that. Yeah, I really like Athens too. That's a good one.
Yeah, those would be the ones.
Okay.
There's a lot. There's a lot of tracks.
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
There's a lot that aren't even there anymore. So there's plenty.
Shane Bagley just sent an email for his highs and lows. I just saw it, so let's do his real quick. Going back to the Yamaha Motor USA highs and lows. He said, highs, Hayden's riding. Dude is a bulldog on that Blue Crew. Him on a 450 in a year or 2 will be fun. Low, Hayden's take on Chance. No way Chance was riding him dirty, nor have I ever seen him so far. Hayden seems to need to manufacture rivalry and always have that drama going to fuel his riding. That in the 450 class might not work out. So we've already talked about that quite a bit, but thanks, Shane, for sending that in. Yeah, okay. And then we've got one more email here. Again, not non-moto related, but that's all right. Actually, there's actually 2 that we could do. What TV show would you want to be in? Like, and I took this as if it was real life. I didn't take it as like be an actor. I took it like if this is real life, what TV show would you want to be in? Anything stand out?
Off the top of my head, that 70s show.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
okay.
That like, I kind of wish that life was kind of still more like that. Like just like the blue collar kind of. It's really not like that anymore. I mean, it kind of is, but I don't know. It's different. It's a little
more fast paced now, I think.
Yeah.
Is that the only one that stands out?
Just off the top of my head, I'm sure I can keep coming up with more.
I'm thinking The Office just because I just love the people, the characters. I'd want to be around that a little bit. Maybe it'd get annoying. My mind goes to when I was a kid, Dukes of Hazzard. Oh, I hope I'd get to ride in the General Lee at some point.
Yeah.
And then The Simpsons. It's not really a real TV show, but I think, I don't know.
Cheers would be cool.
I'm not a big bar guy.
I know,
so I don't know.
Yeah, but Cheers would be cool.
Okay.
What else am I thinking?
Who's the boss so I can hang out with Alyssa Milano?
I don't know. Who's the boss?
Yeah, you're a little young for that.
Definitely wouldn't want to be in Friends. That would annoy me.
Okay, probably so, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah, it's too much drama. Yeah, that's cool. That's a good question.
I liked it. Yeah. I thought that was cool. All right, we got one more kind of random one.
I always wanted Hey Arnold's Bedroom.
I never watched that. I had kids that were kind of maybe watched it, but I didn't pay attention.
Rocket Power was sweet. They were all like adrenaline junkie kids.
Yeah, don't remember that one either. One last one. What item do you hope will be obsolete in 20 years?
Wait, we'll say it again.
What item or items do you hope will be obsolete in 20 years?
iPhone.
Okay.
It's a joke.
I mean, yeah,
dude,
when they
chill.
come out with the next cooler thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about that. Like, what is something we have to use?
I'm the opposite. I wish we had. There's some analog things that I wish we would bring back.
Really? Okay, tell me.
Like everything's so rigid now. Like you had things were made better back then, better quality. Like old TVs were just cool, man. Like
I think I want to save this one too for next week so I can think about it.
Yeah.
But keep going with what you're saying. But we'll come back to answering the actual question. But yeah, just kind of continue with what you're saying, like some cool older stuff.
Yeah, I just think that there was the way we did things back in the day was just cool. Like old cars are cooler.
They look cooler, more personality.
I mean, I have a Corolla now. In 20 years, it's not going to be a classic. It's not going to be cool.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
My truck is not going to be a cool classic truck. It's just going to be an old ass truck.
Yeah, nobody wants. All right,
Yeah.
we got our next guest on the line. He's going to be brought to you tonight by FXR, which is designed by racers for racers. This sucks because he works for a different. His team is sponsored. He literally works for a whole different. But this is what we got. FXR is designed by racers for racers with industry-leading fit, finish, and performance. Progression is the name of the game with every new piece created. At FXR, we push our brand to the next level to provide you with the best products possible. Used by the Muck Off FXR Club MX Yamaha team, Mike Brown, Brock Tickle, Chris Kiefer, Benny Bloss, and many more. FXR has core motor roots, so visit fxrracing.com or go to your local dealership. Tonight, FXR brings us from the TLD Red Bull Gas team, Wil Hahn. What's up, Will?
How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. We finally made this happen.
I know. I feel like it's been a work in progress, if you will.
Yeah, the show's been a work in progress, bro. We have had some issues in the last few weeks. Even A-Ray tonight was like, hey, I need to go early. Can you do it now? I was like, no, man, I'm on with Levi Kitchen right now. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's like almost a karaoke.
Yeah. Can I go next?
Yeah, I'll step in. I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, Will, man, how are things over at TLD? I feel like things are a little rough right now, but from your perspective, how are things going?
I mean, to be honest, there's progress being made.
Good.
I think at this point, the last couple of weekends have been in a positive direction. I think Paula was pretty decent, and then from there, I feel like we're probably regressing, if anything. Results weren't great. Pierce has been pretty strong, but now it's kind of flip-flopped. Now, he got pretty sick the last couple of weeks, so Pierce hasn't been feeling too hot. So been a bit of a struggle, but riders actually made progress. I feel like the last 3 races have been in the trend in the right direction, really. And they're working hard. They're trying really freaking hard right now. I know that everyone's going to say, well, you're going to say that, but it's the reality. None of this is easy, to get in the motos at the race. They're all working hard. So, I don't know. I think there's progression happening and we're making progress. So there's nothing else you can ask for.
Absolutely. And what is your day-to-day roles with the team? You're the official trainer for the team, but what do you do every day?
Mostly it's, Frankie now with him here, it's collaborating on schedule, riding days, and honestly just organizing the guys. It's more so their daily schedule, all their training. It's, pretty much all the above.
Okay. So recently, Ryder moved back to Bakersfield, right? So is he not riding every day with you guys like at GH and stuff? Obviously, that's probably not.
Well, it's not really. It's kind of a little bit blown out of proportion. He didn't move back. I mean, he just went up to his parents. He still has his place in Newport.
Okay.
No, I mean, he was working hard, and they had some good tracks up there. There were some sand tracks for Southwick. It made sense. And he needed kind of a reset. This is his first full season, and I think it's easy to forget that for myself, let alone everyone else. It's hard this time of the year when you haven't experienced this many races in a row, and you're used to the 5 big races a year with a decent amount of time off between. And I felt it, and I didn't even race that many full seasons, so it's hard. I feel it right now without racing. It's this time of the year when you're traveled. At this point, I don't know how many races we've done, but 20 odd some races, it's a lot of travel. So it does weigh on you. But at the same time, it was good for him to go back, get a reset. He's back down here with us this week. We rode Glen Helen today. So, just allowing a little bit of freedom. I mean, it's becoming a trend a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So go back, reset. It was good to be up with the parents, and I'd kill to have my mom cook me dinner tonight too. So I mean, I get it. I get all that stuff. So
Sure.
it's all the above. A little bit of comfort goes a long way.
Yeah, if anybody that knows me or listens to the show knows I'm a big Ryder D fan. So I love his family. I just want so much success for that kid, and I feel the general public, the fans probably don't. You know how they are. We get hard on when the results really aren't there. We get hard on him, and I think he's got a lot to show still.
No, I agree, and I think we're starting to see those glimpses, and we'll get him out of the skate a little bit better this weekend. And I think we'll be up front.
Nice. I hope so, man. I want to see that kid. Like I said, just regular podium. That's what I want out of him.
Absolutely. He's working hard.
Will, when you're working with Ryder and Pierce, and like we had the results haven't quite been what they would like or expect. How do you incorporate that into like the training, like what their techniques are doing on the bike and stuff like that? Are we kind of reinventing the wheel, tried and true? Like, how do you keep them focused when they're not getting the results that they'd like?
I mean, it's easy to lose morale, right? Like that's the tough thing, and then keeping it fresh. And then the outdoor tracks, we're limited, out here, and it's hard at times. It's hard at times to keep it fresh. And I think Frankie's done a really good job at honestly helping me keep it fresh as well, with just different ideas and talking to the riders, getting some of their feedback. We've changed up some exercises. Obviously we were just doing some more motos type stuff, kind of putting them in the hole a little bit to get them back out on the off weekend was nice. And then get some confidence from some, honestly just long, hard days. Mm-hmm. And then now you're able to work on a little bit of speed, and then you're in a 4-race swing. So there's only so much you can really do between weeks. It's pretty limited. Just from this side of it, like, race weekend takes a lot out of you with the travel and everything like that. So, it's just honestly just being open-minded at this point.
You mentioned how far into the season we are, and, Supercross, and, right up into nationals, and then SMX now, and whatever else the guys decide to do, if anything comes up off season, quote unquote. How do you help them figure out a balance between recovery during the week and training and even testing, right? Those things all have to be done, but you have to find a balance.
I mean, it's tough, dude. I mean, and at the same time, you got to throw that in that you have to be a kid at some point too, right? And not, but it's hard because this is your livelihood, and it's a short window. That's the biggest thing that I try to relay is like, you get this 10-year window of burning the candle. I've heard Johnny O say it. I've heard Dungey say it, and it's true. You get this 10 to 12 year of like what you can really get out of it. And yeah, you can make it longer, and that's trending in the right direction now that we're, I think, getting smarter, and training's getting more educated, everything like that. So, I guess more or less it's just, it's telling them to park it, sit on your butt, or, you can kind of see from just, a little bit of demeanor at the track too. And then effort, like, it's not like they're not trying, but if they're smoked, they're smoked. So to me, it's kind of always a moving needle.
Yeah, I guess it would be, and probably different, depending on, right? Individually different. Barsha needs something different than Pierce does. But
absolutely.
Yeah. Did you have something, Scotty?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. You talked about, like, you're at Glen Helen again. I saw you guys at Glen Helen a few weeks ago or a month ago when I was out there, and we got to talk about that in a minute too. But these guys got to get burnt out, man. Those California tracks aren't good. There's not many options. Glen Helen always has guys like me in the way. That's got to be really tough, I would think, to get the same kind of performance out of those guys during the week as maybe a guy on the East Coast where there aren't people in their way and dirt's better. I mean, plain and simple, dirt's better, or here in Texas.
No, it's a thing, right? And I've been Florida, I've been Texas, I've been California. I mean, there's pros and cons to each, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you can probably get away with a little bit higher training load here because we don't have the humidity. So you're not, your sweat rate's not nearly as high. Where back there, I think it's easy to cook yourself, right? One big day in a week can end up hurting you on the weekend. Like, yeah, I get it. There's better dirt, and there's some others, there's definitely perks, but there's always pros and cons, right? So, yeah. It kind of goes with it, but to be burned on the tracks, it's hard. I mean, we've been pretty creative this year, and I think done a good job of it. And we've even gone, multiple late days to Glen Helen, where honestly we get there and it's like a private rental. And we just stay till dark and just ride by ourselves. So, and that's been good too. And it's easier to push yourself when it's just you guys on the track, right? You don't have to worry about what you're saying. There's some chaos involved as well.
Sure.
Yeah, well, with speaking of tracks and like the nationals that we've been to this year, there's been a lot of talk about prep and how it's different now to then and last year, and they're constantly kind of evolving. You've had a couple of years off the bike. Is your experience of certain tracks still translate to where you're able to help the riders, or is it kind of a whole like, yeah, I don't know how to ride that because that's not what it was when I rode it back in the day,
I mean, yes and no. I mean, even since I retired, the bikes have changed, like quite a bit. Like I know there's still 4-strokes and everything, all the above, and even I would say the technique and almost the way you train has changed dramatically too. When I rode, you hit the hardest, roughest part of the track as hard as you could until you couldn't do it anymore. It's like now we're figuring out, man, you can jump those. And you don't have to just bulldog it, and you can be finesse and like you can enter that stuff. You can just be smarter on the bike and be efficient. So I think it's more so the trends are always very similar outdoors, right? The passing areas, even though the tracks change, the passing areas end up being pretty similar. Mm-hmm. I would say, obviously, the prep affects everything, right? So that's one thing we just pay attention to in the morning and practice and relay. And you can kind of get an idea how to develop, but I think it's been good this year. It's been a nice change, regardless of maybe it's not as deep as years prior. I mean, Millville was, but for the rest of them, maybe they weren't, but I think it's good to have change. I feel like we went through 3 seasons there where every track was the same. Like it was just the same prep, the same dirt. I mean, the tire's the same. There's no different tire changes. Like, I think it's exciting right now that we're seeing it in between with the scoop. Like, normally years past, it's just scoop. Like, you're going to run it all day, and that's what you're going to do. Yeah. And I think right now you're seeing, even races possibly, I would say, have been costed, but by the tire. And we haven't seen that either. And I think that's exciting for everybody.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think the changes have been pretty good. I think racing's as good as ever, and it just evolves, like you said. How was the rain delay? It affected the 250 guys. Obviously, you got to keep your guys in check. Maybe figure out whether they need to relax or when to ramp back up. It just changes the schedule a little bit and kind of puts a little bit of a kink in the program.
No, it definitely keeps you on your toes, right? Because we're loading the gate, and you've already had your gel, and you've already kind of gone through your whole pre-race thing. But for me, it was kind of cool because we're at the truck. It was lighthearted. Everyone's outside. We're watching it. No one knows what's going on. Everyone's in the same boat. And it was, I think, lighthearted enough that it kind of relaxed the guys enough it was a positive thing, almost weirdly, right? Yeah. Because then all of a sudden the days reset. But yeah, it's hard because it throws me out of my element, and I'm very I'm always on a schedule in my brain, right? Like, okay, this time, we do this when we do this. And then it threw me off too, where I'm like, I don't know. It's just weird, just strange.
Yeah. I think like you said, we talked to Levi and a couple of guys, and they all said it was just kind of, we were just chilling. It was, did we lose you? Yep.
Hung up on him.
Yeah, we lost Will. Let's see if we can get him back on. Hang tight. Great radio.
Yeah.
No idea how I hit it with my ear, but I hung up. That's
all good. All good. No worries. Go ahead, Scotty.
I was going to say with, talking about helping guys and helping Barsha, and, you race Barsha. Does there ever feel different helping him with the other guys? The fact that you kind of raced with him and had that relationship with them. How is it working with Barsha? And by the way, his gutting it out performance at Southwick was notable. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know what you're getting out of him every time he hits the track, right? Like, you're going to get max effort. And I mean, yes, to be honest, when we did work together full time, it was times hard to give advice to someone that, even though, he was younger than me, and I feel like I was kind of like, not the dad, but the older guy on the Geico team at the time. Like, I was almost a mentor at some point. Like, to me, it was kind of strange to be able to tell him, hey, like, do this in the turn or anything like that, or hit this line or whatever. I had to learn to kind of, I couldn't let that in my brain, right? Because my job's to help him, and you could take it for whatever you want, but he was always super, he would absorb it. Like, he never once looked at it like I did, right? Like, he always just took it in and applied it. Like, to me, that was cool. And that kind of gave me some confidence by talking more about it. Cause I mean, that's a legitimate question. It was different because, I mean, he beat me, 90% of my career.
Yeah, it's a strange dynamic a little bit.
Yeah, I just thought of that. That's got to be kind of weird at first.
Wil Hahn's brought to you by FXR tonight. All right, let's go back to Glen Helen. I mean, you saw. Come on, I heard you had some words with Steve about me riding. I want to know what was said. Because I was terrible, Scotty. Glen Helen sucks.
Well, was this the last time you rode Glen Helen?
Yeah, and I was like, I told you, like, Barsha and Ryder and Pierce are out there, and they're like going by so freaking fast.
You couldn't keep up with them?
Dude, I could barely keep up with myself. But it
I
was
expected more.
Dude, it's bad. When I go there, it's so bad, Will. I don't.
Dude, don't worry. I don't think I'd be any better right now. I was watching it today, going like, I haven't ridden in quite a while, but it's just been. I'm like at the point now where it's been long enough that I'm nervous. Like I'll be honest.
There's just nothing to push off of, and it's all so hard base, and I don't have any confidence when I'm there. Zero.
Yeah.
No, and you see that's the perk of. So I would say, to learn how to ride the tracks out here is a lot harder than to learn them in Texas, even though the ruts are trickier, right? Like for sure, a straightaway full of ruts is hard, and I'm not saying it's easy by any means, but it's a hell of a lot easier to find traction than it is to search for it, right? Like when you have it, when it's available, it's easy to pivot, it's easy to turn, it's not squirrely. Where here, I mean, dude, you clip a rock going across, it's going to wash.
Yeah. I ride scared at Glen Helen, and that's not good. So just know that,
I mean, don't get me wrong. 98% of people, probably other than Blake Baggett and Josh Grant, do too.
Okay. Well, just know that's not my best effort. It was embarrassing.
Don't worry. I'm not fully judging. I'll give you shit every time, but I'm not judging. I know how that plays it.
You just mentioned you hadn't been on a bike in a while, and I was going to ask you, like, do you get to ride? Do you want to ride? Will we ever see a run at Loretta's?
I mean, yes. To answer your question first, I haven't ridden in probably getting close to probably 2 years.
Oh wow!
It's the longest I've gone. I mean, I've don't get me wrong. I hop on the bike, I'll ride it, and then, I've ridden at the sand track and gone and done a lap to see what it looks like, to kind of understand where they're at. But no, like actually like gear up and ride. It's probably been the longest of my whole life. And it's mostly like, I'm excited to go ride. I don't really necessarily want to go to a public track where there's an expectation. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Like I would like to go ride maybe a private track or trails even, like that's what I grew up riding, was like river bottoms and stuff like that. Like that sounds fun. But motivated to come ride a public track and get my doors blown off and constantly be judged? Not necessarily. No, not really. But with that said, yes, I do still want to ride. It's still there. I still have the itch. I don't think that'll ever go away. But and Loretta's, no, it doesn't interest me anymore. It's been too long. Like,
I understand.
It's the thought of it and being like in a group. Like it sounds fun. Like it would be, how fun would it be with TP and Kiefer and you, and like you have the boys, and like, I mean, there'd be a lot of banter. It'd be a good time. But I'm like, to go there, you either like in position I feel like I'm in, you'd either have to put in a lot of time.
Yeah. To
go there the way you want to go, or not give a shit. And like, I don't think I can go there and not give a shit. Like, I don't think I can just go like, whatever happens. I just don't think I can. So it's like, I'd almost rather avoid it, because the work required to get ready would be, it's a lot.
I do understand that. Yeah, I understand. Loretta's 25 for me, Will. I'm going next year. I'm getting in this year. This year didn't go well, but next year I'm in.
I like it. I like the attitude.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, Will, because we do a top 5 segment where we top 5 things, and next week's is things that motocrossers do that to everybody else seems abnormal. And I think that pressure to have to like go out to a local track and show out because I'm Wil Hahn, that's one of them. People are like, you don't have to go do something you don't want to do because somebody else. I'm like, no, I do. Yeah, I have to go out there and I have to ride like that because that's what's expected of me. Yeah. So that's a good point.
Well, it's like, it's not even worth the banter of like the photos of me going, you know what I mean? Where it's going to be like, yeah, I know I was slow. Like I didn't expect to go fast. And so it's like, I'm like, I just rather avoid it at all costs, right?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're getting blown out on a podcast and Monday night or Tuesday night.
Steve would definitely, say something. All right, just a few more questions. What's the best and worst thing about training the kids, the youth of today? Do they listen very well? Like, there's got to be something that just drives you crazy, and some good parts.
The good part is honestly being a small part of helping a kid chase his dream that I once, chased. And I think that's being, you know, a 1% help to them and being a small part of that still gives you that satisfaction of being a part of it, right? That I can't do anymore. So, that part's amazing, and seeing them feel that progress the same way you did or whatever. And like I said, it's that part's special. When you get results, everything like that, or just even at home, sometimes there's just small wins, but it's cool to see. The next part of that, the worst part of it is, I mean, it's just different. You're different personalities. You have to learn, and luckily, like at Star is the same way as a manager. It's you have to really learn different personalities.
Yeah.
How the guy clicks, and everyone's so dramatically different, and you know what can send him off, and what keeps him in the right headspace, and kind of feeling him out as far as that goes. And then honestly, a lot of things have changed. Even I'm not that old, but it's the younger crowd is different. You know, like it's a different generation. It's understanding that, like I said, even moods and everything like that, or you know, cooking them. Honestly, like it's just different. In a lot of ways. And I think that's just the involvement of our sport too. Like it is evolving to, it's not as, I don't want to say it's not as hard of work, because that's not the case, but there's a little bit, I feel like less every moto's on a stopwatch, and a little bit more technique is starting to introduce itself back in. I think that's great.
I like it. Scott, anything else? I got a couple more if you don't.
Well, yeah, we were talking earlier about, we had an email about, tracks in Texas that we enjoyed going to. I know you were kind of Midwest, but did a lot of stuff in Texas. Will, what would be your iconic track in Texas that you liked?
A couple of tracks, honestly. The one track that I never understood why I never had an outdoor was, gosh, now I'm going to blow it, in Floresville. Damn it, I can't think of it. Down in San Antonio. I can't remember the track name right now. Yeah, Cycle Ranch. Like if I honestly still don't understand to this day. Like that's one of the best tracks I've ever rode. And the facility totally could have handled it. But I mean, I had a lot of good memories at River Valley. Like Oak Hill has a lot of memories to me too. Just trying to think. There's so many good, awesome facilities down there, and honestly, just good motocross tracks. Like it's hard to really pick one. I mean, we used to ride so many private tracks. Like back when JD and Demas and like we all those guys, when we all rode together, and my buddy Greg from home, and we went to Bowie. There was a bunch of tracks in Bowie.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah, there was two actually at one point, and they were both really kick-ass tracks. Rode a bunch up by like Denton. Then you had Wharton's, you had Hewitt's track. I mean, we were actually, now when you look back, it was like a mecca there. We had a lot of options.
Still is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many private or local, public tracks around here. It's crazy.
And they're all like pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yes, they are. If they don't let them get baked in, they're really good. Yeah. They start really good.
No, I should have said Master Pools too. Master Pools is, his outdoor track's unbelievable.
Yeah. I rode there once a couple years ago, but we got there late in the day and it was like concrete when we got there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when it does, there's definitely some hard clay sections for sure.
Yeah. Okay, just a couple more. I think recently you've worked a little bit with Colt Nichols, who just announced he's with Hep Suzuki. But I want to ask you helped Cole Davies a little bit, didn't you?
Yep. Yeah, I worked with Cole the whole time, and I still work with Colt right now.
Okay, you're still working. Okay. But he went to Star, right? He signed for Star. Was that kind of an annoyance at all, or you just understand the business?
I mean, ultimately, when we set out, we had a goal, right? And the goal was to win futures and get a pro ride. And like, so taking my personal feelings out, because I did become really close to that family and Cole and his mom and dad, and like just his mechanic as well, Lucky. It's just really, really good family.
Yep.
Townley had called me a few years ago and we started talking, and then it ended up basically him handing me Cole, and Cole was amazing. Obviously, everyone saw his talents and how good he's going to be. It was a real bummer. Yes, I would say I was. Yeah, not even necessarily annoyed. I was just bummed. Like it was. To me, he was young. I had really the first kid. I would say not built from scratch, but kinda like it's like he didn't have any really gym experience coming to me, and it was kind of like something I could build up, right? And I think that was kind of cool. And exciting, and I think we did a good job of it. And at the end, I'm stoked for him.
Yeah,
right. Like
it's a great opportunity, right? I mean,
and that's exactly what I told him. I'm like, I mean, dude, like you got to do it. Like it was hard to leave me too, you know. And I think that was, it's one of those things. We set out with a goal and we achieved it. I think that's really cool.
Awesome. Well, last question for you. How's being a dad, man?
Oh, that's awesome. It's been one of the obviously like gnarliest things for sure.
Yeah.
And if you think you're tired ever from racing, you're not. Trust me.
Sure.
Yeah. Like it's another level of exhaustion for sure at the beginning. But no, it's been the best thing for sure I've done in my life. She's been awesome. She's getting a personality now and waving, and it's just, yeah, it's pretty, the process of it, and everyone says you don't know, and it couldn't be more true. Like the unknowns of it was so scary, right? Like,
yeah,
I know I'm rambling, but like going into it, and I'm like, so many unknown expectations of like, I didn't know you're not prepared for, and no matter what you read or do, you're not going to be prepared for. And it's just, it's kept us on our toes, but now getting the hang of it and everything like that, it's been, man, it's been cool.
It's awesome to hear, dude. I'm glad you're doing well. Hopefully have some good performances out of the boys this weekend in Washougal, but thanks for your time. Glad we finally got a chance to get this done.
Awesome. I really appreciate giving me a call, guys.
Anytime, Will. You have a good night and good weekend.
You too.
All right,
thanks, guys.
Bye. That's Wil Hahn, brought to you tonight by FXR. Good stuff. Glad we got that done. Mm-hmm. Really do want to see good things. I like Pierce too. I think Pierce is a great kid. Tons of talent. It's going to come together. So thank him for him coming on.
Oh, I forgot. I did want to ask him one more thing. Like, he probably can't talk about it anyways. So, like, I know that there's talks of downsizing the Austrian teams. I don't know what changes his role. He probably wouldn't be able to answer anything.
Yeah, they can't talk about that yet.
I figured you would have asked if you could have. So,
yeah, I don't think they'll be on gas next year.
He'll find something to do.
Well, I think that the teams, there'll still be a TLD team.
Oh, okay. So
I just think it's going to be a different manufacturer, maybe. But yeah, I can't really. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, EVS picks for Washougal 250 picks. Over the past 39 years, EVS Sports has established itself as the leader in innovation and technology when it comes to designing protection gear for today's motocross riders. Athletes like RJ Hampshire, Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Noren, Axel Hodges, and Travis Pastrana all wear EVS when they race, ride, or whatever Travis decides to do that day. Check out evs-sports.com. Use the code VITALMX30, all caps, to save and gear up like the pros. You can get yourself a set of the new Axis Web Eclipse knee braces, the TP199 or the Slayco 99 knee guards, or get yourself some of the technical undergear. It's all fantastic. Tonight, EVS picks for Washougal. Vince sent his in from TBolt USA. He said Hayden, Levi Kitchen, Joe Shimoda. What you got, Scotty?
I've got Kitchen.
LK. I like LK for the win.
I'm trying to think of how Washougal will do for the Euro style of VL.
Smooth on the throttle.
Yeah. Not going to be Hymas because he's dealing with some stuff. So let's go Kitchen, Deegs, VL.
Okay. I went Deegs, Levi Kitchen, Ty Masterpool.
Yeah.
If you guys want to get involved with this, MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. Send us your picks before the race Saturday. We'll talk about them next week. Any other questions, comments you got, bring them in.
Sport gave us $19.99, said beers on me, boys.
Nice. Thanks, Sportin'.
The beers that Darkside doesn't drink.
Yeah. But all right. I want to thank Race Tech and Yamaha Motor USA for presenting the show. I want to thank Guts Racing, FXR, X Brand, Pro X, EVS Protection, Evans Coolant, Barnett Clutches, TBolt USA. I want to thank Levi Kitchen, Wil Hahn, Alex Ray. I want to thank you, Scotty, for actually showing up.
Man.
I think that's it. You got anything else before we go?
Nope, that's it.
All right. We're going to wrap this thing up. We'll be back next week. Other than that, guys, we are out.